countdown, and then I'm going to do this for my actual Game of the Year awards. I'll have 2 different colors.
Oh, wow, amazing. You changed
so there you go, but we'll start with this.
You got somebody to change the hue.
And then we'll swap over for mine. This is going to go exactly like it did
Solid,
last night.
dude, solid.
Where I'm just going to count down your picks for the top 10 playthroughs of the year, and I'm going to talk a little bit about each one and why I think you may have selected it for Game of the Year, or
anyways,
playthrough
big
of the
ups,
year.
everyone.
And then I'll basically talk to you guys in chat a little bit
day.
and get a little bit more feedback about if you have any direct feedback as to why you think this might have made the countdown or got the place that it did.
Ooh, Disney Dreamlight.
So
that
it's
going to
be very
dude.
much the same. And by the way, just like last night, if contributions come in, we are going to stop the stream between each entry and shout out the contributions, respond, etc. I'm expecting probably the first hour will be the fan voted, or I should say viewer's choice, best playthroughs of the year. And then after that, the second hour will be my Game of the Year choice picks. Okay? Sound good? I need to figure out the temperature in here. It's cold, but at the same time, as I'm going to be talking nonstop all night, I know it's going to heat up. I have the fan off. Maybe I'll just open the window a little bit further. Hold on. Let me figure it out.
Hey, figure it out, dude. You know? What's up with Blade lately? He's streaming on Kick.
Yeah, maybe like that. Let's see.
And every time he gets a little too drunk, he turns off the stream now.
That works great.
Before he starts...
All right, so first
things.
Contribution of the night has already come in. Let's take a look. A $3 tip from Love It or Leave It. What is your Game of the Year? I will answer that for you in about 2 hours. So just hang around for about 2 hours, and I swear to you, I will give you that answer. That's guaranteed to be coming on this stream, okay? I will say something else as well, guys. We have been getting crazy winds here. We had a crazy rainstorm last night that knocked out the power. All day today we had crazy winds. Right now it seems to have calmed down for now. But FYI, there's a potential that the power might go out again. If it does, there's nothing I can do about that. I'll just wait for it to come back and let you know what's going on my phone. So just please be patient there. Okay? Gabriel doing a super chat says, better see Resident Evil 4 top 5, Alan Wake 2 at number 1, DSP Panic Emo. There you go. Let's see. So what did you say? You said Resident Evil 4 top 4, and you think Alan Wake 2 is my pick for Game of the Year. Okay, we'll find out. We're not doing that yet. We're doing the viewer's choice playthroughs first, but perhaps you're right, perhaps you're wrong. Remember, I don't review games anymore. So you guys have no clue what actually the rankings will be because you don't have scores to compare against each other, right? Now, guys, this is basically just the same as any other stream for me, even though it is a special stream. Tonight, the goal is to try to hit 1,085 members. We lost a few during today. Certainly, we're ahead for the month, but it would be great to hit 1,085 tonight. If you'd rather become a member yourself or maybe give some to the community, that would be great. That would help. And, of course, I try to hit the Tier 1 tips goal every stream. So keep those in mind tonight if you are going to contribute. Cracker Jack says we had a winter squall warning tonight. Yeah, it was pretty strong. We never have anything like that. And it was really bad winds. It, like I said, knocked the power out last night for like 10, 15 minutes. So... Sarah says, don't you think Game of the Year Award should be a perfect opportunity to boost DSP Reacts? I don't know. It's gaming. It's me counting down video games. The people on DSP Reacts aren't necessarily there for games. In fact, I'd say they're there for other stuff. No? Like, think about it. It's reacting to YouTubers. It's reacting to clips. It's reviewing movies, doing tier maker countdowns. I don't think they're necessarily there for games. So I actually think it would kind of be out of place over there, honestly. All right, so real fast, I'm just going to blow my nose, and then we're going to start. Okay? Hold on.
Disgusting. That's absolutely vile, dude. Scum and villainy. Yeah, scratch that butthole, dude. Don't forget to take a sniff after. Do a finger sniff.
Okay. Alrighty. Good evening, No Sleep Real Vibes. How you doing? And Nightman, thank you for all your support. 9 months as a member, and he says DSP Game of the Year awards get hype. Very nice. Are we ready to go? Shall we begin? Last night we waited till 7:30. Do you think we should wait for more people, or should we just begin now? We could wait a little bit longer if you guys want to, or we could just jump right in. It's up to you. Was it a $3 tip? I thought it was a 3, and then I called my own bluff and said it was a 2. But you're saying it was a 3.
Called my own bluff.
Okay.
Whoa.
There you go. It was a $3.
Is that how that
tip
works?
From Love It or Leave It. Cool. Okay. Wait for a few more? All right. Excuse me. Good evening, Jade. He says, I'd love to see Hi-Fi Rush on number 5 or number 3. Whoa. He thinks Hi-Fi Rush made the top 5 of the best games of the year. or viewer's choice. I don't know which one he's talking about.
What a dummy, dude.
Let me put it this way, guys. Just so you know, it's the top 10 viewer's choice and top 10 for my game of the year. I could have gone longer, and I could have had honorable mentions, but I did want to squeeze this into a night stream. I didn't want this to be like a 3-4 hour endeavor. So it is narrowed down to top 10, just so you know.
Yeah.
Okay. Excuse me.
Yeah, he don't have enough content to cover this, dude. What has he probably got a few games, like... I don't know.
What's up, Rugal? Good evening, Rugal. Good to see you. What's up, Iseo? Good
I mean,
evening.
to be
Is
fair, though,
Spider-Man
he
2
always
better make
stalls,
top
so...
3? You're all demanding things. How dare you demand things of me? If you're saying, like, oh, I hope Spider-Man makes top 3, and like, no, it better make top 3, because if not, I'm coming to your house, and I'm going to give you a giant wedgie live on stream. You better not. Because I'll tell you, I will be very upset with you, and I will complain about that live on stream, that you wedgied me. People used to do that in high school to me. They would wedgie me and destroy my underpants.
Yo, I
That's
always
not
said...
fair.
I always said that,
I
like...
didn't buy my own underpants. My parents did. I didn't have any money,
I
so
wonder,
they had to buy the underpants, and that wasn't fair to them. You understand?
I want to give...
So stop wedging me live on stream.
I want to give
Very
Phil a
upset.
noogie, dude. Just put him in a headlock and give him a noogie. Maybe give him a swirly, dude. Dump his
Good
head
to have
in
you here
the
tonight,
toilet.
Jay. Welcome,
He
welcome.
might like that one, though. I don't know. He might like that one. I might not do that one. Give him some old-fashioned bullying, you know? Some IRL bullying. Forget all this, you know, e-bullying.
If you gave someone a wedgie these days, would you get sued for harassment? I don't know. It could be assault. I mean, it really is physical assault when you think about it.
It's assault.
I mean, holy crap, you're literally hurting
Yo.
someone. You're destroying their undergarments while shoving the undergarments into their nether regions, causing
Yo.
both physical anguish
Yo, if you
and
give
mental
Phil a
discomfort
wedgie,
at
dude,
the
he'll
same
sue you,
time,
dude.
and long-term psychological
assault.
damage in some cases. Maybe the
Psychological
reason I'm
damage?
such a big asshole is because of the wedgies I got in high school. Did you ever think about that? That if
Wow.
people just left me alone, maybe I would have left everyone
You
else
hear that,
alone.
guys?
I never would have made a YouTube video, and you know,
Well,
then what we were.
it's all those bullies. It's their fault, dude.
So think about what you do.
All
Think
those
about the
bullies in
repercussions
school,
of your
they-
actions
it's
long
their
term
fault
and their
that
effect
he's
on the
like
planet
this.
before you act out.
It's
Because
their
think of the
fault.
things that could be like the
Not
domino
Phil's.
effect. You know what I mean?
You know? They made him this way, dude. He's like Batman, except an e-bagger.
Oh boy.
Or maybe
Super Taqueria.
like the
You ate
Punisher.
tacos and quesadillas.
He's
from
the
Super
Punisher of
Taqueria?
e-bagging,
Wow.
dude.
Sounds amazing. I had turkey hot dogs and chicken flavored rice. That was my dinner tonight. I told people were like, what are you having for dinner? I'm like, Kat's working, so she's just going to come home and whip something together fast. And that's what we had tonight. So, what's up, PS3 Troop? How you doing? Good evening.
Yeah,
Did I ever
yo.
give anyone else a wedgie? Honestly,
For
I
sure.
don't think I ever have. I'm trying to think hard. Did I ever give anyone a wedgie in my lifetime? Not that I recall, no. I certainly made fun of people. You know, internet bullying was a huge thing, but
I
I
got
don't
bullied.
think I ever
I got
like
bullied too,
physically
you know?
bullied anyone in my life, no.
I used to get bullied in Charleston, South Carolina, because I was a Yankee. And they hate Yankees, bro. Dude, it's like living in the...
All right, are we
living
ready
in
now to
colonial
start? I guess we
times,
should
bro.
start. I think we have a good crowd here, do we not?
This is the late 90s,
Almost
dude.
400 in climbing.
The late
And remember,
90s.
so with the way it's going to work,
Like it's
it's
colonial,
very
like
similar
it's
to last
friggin'
night. So I'll do an introduction to explain the
the
premise
Revolutionary
of what we're doing.
War or
Then
something.
I'll get into the countdown, and each number I'll tell you a little bit about
They
why
still
I
hate
think it's
Yankees,
there.
bro.
And then I'll wait, and if people are tagging me in the chat and want to give their feedback, I'll take it. If anyone contributes, I'll shout the contributions out between the parts, like between the number entries. Okay. Okay.
Goddamn Confederates. Goddamn rednecks.
All right. Oh, my nose. All right, shall we begin? I see nothing else, so we can start. Fair enough. All right.
5 white kids. Yeah.
Here we go. Let's get started.
My boss used one of my ex-bosses.
Hello, everyone. DSP
used
here.
to say that to me.
And I've got something fresh and new for you this year. Every single
like,
year,
oh,
I do my
the
year-end
reason I'm
series
racist
on
is
an
'cause I
annual
got bullied
basis
by black
where
kids.
we count down the most disappointing
Like,
games,
okay.
as well as my personal picks for the best games of a particular year. But in 2023, we did things a little differently.
That doesn't make it okay, dog.
New and fresh. And so, what people have been doing, both my viewers and my haters, I'm sure, over the last month, is nominating and then voting on the most nominated playthroughs for what they picked as the best playthroughs that I put out over the course of 2023. Now, to clarify the difference, because there is a distinct difference between a best playthrough or a game of the year award style countdown, this means any game that I played in 2023 is eligible. Not just the hot new releases, but also throwback games, classic games, in-between games that were kind of filler. Some of the games that I played in 2023 were classic games that I had already played, and this was a replay. Or maybe an older game I had never actually played before, and you got to see me play it for the first time. Obviously, those games never would have been eligible for Game of the Year because they're not new releases, but they were eligible for this special countdown. In addition, I did tell everyone things like multiplayer games, right? Maybe you really liked me playing an online game, but it just isn't good enough to hit Game of the Year. Well, this was your chance to nominate those kind of games too. And so pretty much anything that was played in 2023 was eligible here. And so I think what's going to happen is you're going to see a distinct difference between this countdown, which was all viewer voted and
I don't judge
created,
people by their
versus
skin
my
color, dude.
personal picks for Game of the Year. However, I do have to say one thing, all right?
I have no preconceived notions about anybody.
I will completely take the blame for this. I did not properly plan for this countdown. Oh, no. What does that mean? Basically, here's how I work when I do my year-end series. All year, all the notable games that I play, I save a few videos locally on my hard drive so that at the end of the year or early the next year, I can do my year-end series. I predict, all right, well, this game was kind of disappointing. This one will probably make it. This one was really good. This might be my game of the year. So I save those videos.
No, I know what you're talking about, dude.
It wasn't until like November that I came up with this idea.
You're talking about the thing where
choice best
your brain
playthroughs.
Subconsciously
so when people started
makes
nominating games,
judgments
I was like,
before you're even able to think about it.
I don't have footage of some of these.
Consciously.
And quite honestly, if I maybe had a little bit
point.
more time and I wasn't so busy right now, I probably would have been able to dig into the YouTube archives and download it and rip them. I didn't. So there's 3 games that you guys nominated and voted for. I don't have the raw playthrough footage. For 2 of them, I'm actually going to go with a YouTube short that I had on hand. For one of them, sadly, I just don't have anything. We're just going to go with the splash screen of like the game box art, which is unfortunate, but actually it won't matter that much as you're going to see when we get to it, okay? Rest assured, for my other year-end countdowns, I have all the footage, and we're going to have full gameplay. This is just a new idea that I came up with, as a suggestion from the viewers. This is constructive criticism that led to this event happening, but I totally didn't think about the breadth of how much it would take to prepare for it. So now what I'll likely do, no exaggeration, every single playthrough I do in 2024, I'll probably save a video from just to have one on hand, just in case people pick it as their viewer's choice best playthrough of 2024.
Yeah, dude.
Okay?
I mean,
all right. Now, this is an interactive
you're
stream. What that
like,
means is as I'm doing the countdown,
your subconscious
every countdown
judgments,
entry, I'd like to hear your take. Tag me in the chat. Let me know what you think about that being at that level in the countdown.
It depends a lot on like
I'm very curious
how you were brought up and what your experience is in life.
I didn't pick these.
You're going to have a stronger negative reaction.
So I'm curious why some of them are in here. And number 2, obviously there's some of these I'm probably not going to
bullied by black kids in school.
Okay? Now also, if contributions happen to come in during the stream, I will shout them out between
didn't have
the
that
numbered
experience.
parts. So you got to wait until a numbered part discussion is done, and then I'm going to shout out everyone's contributions. Okay? All right, so without further ado, RAC just gifted 5 memberships to the community. Right as I was about to start. So thank you very much, RAC, for the 5-member bomb there. Let's see who ends up getting those tonight. It looks like Robbie, Rugal, Mega Ultra Pepe, the Scale Scholar, and Derek. So congrats to the 5 of you. Thank you so much, RAC, for supporting the community tonight here on the year-end series countdown. Very nice. Okay, let's begin. So, out of all the playthroughs, all the games that I played in 2023, of which there were dozens and dozens, the number 10 game that you, the viewers, selected was... Yeah. If you can believe it,
Starfield?
the number 10 game you selected was Starfield.
This was...
Of all the games you could have selected, I never thought you would have picked Starfield to be in my top 10 playthroughs of 2023. I don't know if this is a troll entry. It very well could be, as I said. It was an open
that just tells you that you had no good playthroughs, dude.
So perhaps some troll accounts got in there and said,
really bad playthroughs this year.
Here's the deal. This is actually my pick for the most disappointing
this is the
game
best
of
and worst,
2023. How it got into the top 10 best playthroughs, I'm not sure. Unless, in some cases, perhaps what it is that you guys enjoy seeing me play games that aren't so good. And the truth is, I usually don't do that anymore.
You know what the difference
Back
is?
in the day, a decade ago, I was the guy known that I would run out and buy almost every major new release, play it really fast, beat it within like a week, get all my opinions out about that on the internet, and immediately be like reviewing it for you, right? But I think what happened in this case was, usually I skip the bad games that are known. Like I didn't play Gollum,
disappointing games
I didn't
based
play
on
Kong Skull Island this year. I skipped them, and I played the better games because I had limited time of what I could stream. Being a one-man show here, and Starfield was one that we were hyped to see if it was going to be good or not. So I feel like when I finally started playing it, starting off slowly, it looked like it was going to be good, but the further I got into the game, it got worse and worse and more monotonous, and we realized it just wasn't very unique. It wasn't that interesting. It was very disappointing, and I'm thinking that's actually what happened, is that basically when we got to the point where, 30, 40 hours into the playthrough, people were actually happy that I'd played it to reveal to you guys that it wasn't that good, right? I mean, me making it my most disappointing game of the year last night, obviously, right? So there you have it. That's my take. I can't think of another reason why you would have put Starfield into my top 10 playthroughs of the year. However, I'm not the one who picked it. So that's it. Starfield's number 10. I'm curious, what do you guys have to say right now on the chat? Spidey5000 says, I feel like Bethesda still has a solid fan base, and those people maybe liked your playthrough. Maybe, but the thing is, I didn't really do it like a full-on playthrough like other Bethesda games. If you remember, I played about 40 hours. I did some of the factions, some of the companion quests, got bored, and literally rushed to the end and finished. So how would you vote that in? I'm very confused as to the reasoning. Carlos,
I think they really like Starfield.
We got to watch it without buying it. Maybe that's what it is. I don't know. Maybe it was the troll element. Do you guys think it was the troll element? I'm not sure.
The troll element,
my guess
dude.
is people feel like he did a good, honest playthrough of the game.
I love how he reduces.
Maybe because I didn't kiss his butt.
All troll activity into the troll element.
On it the whole time, because it seems like a lot of content creators, they have to go to one extreme or the other.
Just the troll
element,
like
politics, right? Either you have to absolutely love a game and be on that bandwagon, or you have to be on the other side of the people who are railing against it and destroying it. And I definitely wasn't doing that. I was just being honest about it the whole time, right? Nosy Real Vibe says there are positives about Starfield. The dialogue and the soundtrack is good. I mean, yeah, that's typically what Bethesda's known for, right? The dialogue trees, the branching quest, the amount of content. If you want to know why I didn't like the game, check out my most disappointing games of the year countdown from last night. Okay? Cool. In the meantime, I received a very generous $30 tip from Haseo X, who says, one of the best series we all love and enjoy. Let's see how everyone will react to this. All right. I'm curious. This is a new one. Remember, this is a totally new project. I've never done this before. So, and keep in mind, these are your picks. You can't be mad at me because these are not my picks. These are your picks. All right. We're going to get to my picks later, but we got to get through yours first. So thank you to Haseo for a very generous $30 tip. I appreciate that very, very much. Thank you for the support tonight. Okay. Well, that was your number 10 favorite playthrough of 2023. With that being the start, right? You can only wonder what's going to be next, so let's get to the next one. Ladies and gentlemen, the viewer's choice, fan voted, number 9 best playthrough of 2023 was the one that I don't have footage of because I had no idea we were going to really be doing this year. And it's unfortunate because I really loved this playthrough and loved playing it with you. Chrono Trigger as the new edition that was on Steam. All right. So if you're not aware, Steam has an edition with some upgraded visuals and things on the screen that aren't standard from the SNES version. And that's the version that we played this year. This was a 10-year anniversary playthrough. I had actually played Chrono Trigger 10 years ago during what I called the Summer of Retro. A summertime where things were very slow, there weren't new releases. So I played games like Legend of Zelda: Link to the Past, Earthbound, Chrono Trigger, among others. Now, I'd always said that I wanted to go back and play Chrono Trigger again. I was actually upset because what happened was I didn't have the ability to play games on PC anymore. And they literally never ported Chrono Trigger to console. Right now, if you wanted to play this on console, you have to get like the PS1 version emulated on PS3 if you still have a working PS3 that works with PSN. Otherwise, you literally can't play this game. Okay? It's weird. But the good news is, thankfully, I was gifted a mini PC by a viewer this last year. And that mini PC can play any real Steam game. And we were able to play this game again. This playthrough was super awesome. The music, the gameplay elements, the story, and the optional side quests for each individual character. It's awesome. The Akira Toriyama art style, the soundtrack that's such a classic now. All those themes are kind of ingrained in our head. When I beat the game, the music playing at the end is so synonymous with my youth. I remember back in the day, you know, in the summertime, being able to like relax and turn on a video game that I rented at the rental store when I went with my parents when they went like grocery shopping and stuff, and popping it in and having a little drink there and turning on Chrono Trigger or another RPG and just sitting there and with the nice breeze coming in my window in Connecticut and just enjoying this nice relaxing time in an epic game. You know, I would say Chrono Trigger is like probably one of the 3 major RPGs that made me feel like games are art. Up to that point, it was like games are bleeps and bloops. Games are fists punching. But then when you play a game like this, you're like, this is a piece of art, right? This is absolutely gorgeous. It's amazing what they did on the SNES back then, right? And to this day, I would replay this game at any chance that I had. I'm hoping maybe, you know, in 10 more years, maybe we'll do a 3rd run, right? It's that good of a game. You know what? Maybe, just maybe, I will actually one day go ahead and do the alternate endings because I really wanted to do them this year. And then we got into the busy gaming season and I didn't get to do it. All right. But here's the thing. Perhaps you missed out on this playthrough. All right. And you didn't see it. I strongly urge you, if you want to see a very meaningful playthrough where I have a lot of nice conversation with my audience, and it's so meaningful to me because this is a nostalgic playthrough, check this one out. It's not for everyone. You know, a lot of people just want to see me rage. They just want to see me play a hot new game. This is one that's a lot different vibe. Much like any time that I'm playing like a lengthy JRPG on a late night chill stream, this was like the quintessential example of what you would want to see of that. Okay, but I don't have footage for you because I wasn't ready for this. I had no idea people would actually nominate and vote for that, and I didn't have any on my PC. I'm sorry about that. I promise you there's at least some footage of every other entry coming up. Okay, so thank you for that. Let's see. Peter says, "Hope Sea of Stars will might live up to the quality of Chrono Trigger. That's one of my favorite games of all time."
Wait, does he not know what?
And currently we are playing Sea of Stars, and so far the playthrough has been great. Carlos says, "I actually thought that would have made top 5." Well, remember, this is everyone voting, and a playthrough like that. That's not one of my best mainstream playthroughs. Like, there's not tons of people turning out for that. In fact, it had very low attendance. It's more meaningful to those who like me more as a person rather than as a gamer.
What is in the
list? They want to have that kind of meaningful late night chill atmosphere. That's who it was really for. So, even Gabriel says too low. Should have been number 5. So, Anime Fan says, am I going to play the sequel? Well, if you mean Chrono Cross isn't necessarily a direct sequel. But we found out during the Chrono Trigger playthrough that it does have ties to the plot of the original Chrono Trigger. Like, you find out what happened to those characters and stuff in, like, follow-up scenes and things. So maybe eventually I will. I don't know. Sarah says, I think this playthrough showed your real character and personality rather than just over-exaggerated rage and insults. You're at your best. That's why we love you. Thank you so much. That's something very nice that you said there, Sarah.
That's dented
All right,
as
so
fuck,
check it out.
dude.
If you didn't see it yet, Chrono Trigger from 2023. Amazing playthrough. Sorry I didn't have the visuals for you there. I received a very generous tip, a $50 tip tonight from Lisa Liu. Thank you for a great year of streaming in 2023. You are welcome, Lisa Liu, and thank you for all of your support over 2023 and now continuing into 2024. Thank you, thank you, thank you. And with that, it is now time to put on some glasses and then move on to the number 8 entry. So let's do it. Thank you so very much. That gets us up to $83 in tips so far tonight. Wow, already. Thank you so much. Okay. The number 8 entry on this countdown, I kind of had a feeling it would be on there. I didn't know at what level, and I think different people actually like these kind of playthroughs for different reasons. All right? I think some people like to see me play games from their own past that they adore, and then to see me actually have a playthrough of it and to see my take on it. I think in some cases, this was a game that I had referenced many years, saying that this was one that originally I had played, but never got to finish because I was playing it on a console. And that console red-ringed. That's right, the Xbox 360. And then years later, I went to play it on PC, and sadly, people thought it was boring. But that's because that was before I was an interactive streamer who had a face cam, who talked with the audience, who had that social interaction. And I think, in this case, this playthrough worked because the last few years we had tried out other games from this game developer, and they worked really well on an annual basis. And so it was end of last year, you guys chose your number 8 favorite playthrough of 2023, which was The Elder Scrolls 4 Oblivion.
Oh my God.
As I said, I did not have full gameplay footage for you of every game, but I have a nice YouTube short that we had made of this game over the course of the year, and I figured why not feature your absolute favorite part of the playthrough, my lockpicking skills. Because my God, that was definitely the highlighted feature of the of the playthrough, when you got to see me lockpick and just absolutely love it, right? I mean, it was so delightful. So here's the deal. I played Oblivion back in the day on the Xbox 360, all right? But my 360 red ring. By the time that I got a replacement 360 months later, basically it was too late to kind of resume the playthrough, and I never went back to it, okay? Then, when I was a YouTuber, people always told me about, oh, Oblivion's good, Oblivion's good. So I played Oblivion on PC, not any kind of an upgraded version on console, but just on PC. And it looked all right, and it ran okay, a little bit choppy. But, for the most part, we were enjoying it. But the thing was, again, it was a different time. I wasn't interactive. I didn't have a live audience that I really talked with that much. And basically, people got bored with it, like really bored with it. And so I dropped it. And then years and years went by, and what's happened is on an annual basis, people have usually nominated like either a Bethesda game or a long-form RPG for me to play once a year, early on in the year when there's not much else going on with new releases. First, it was Fallout New Vegas. Then, it was Skyrim. And then this year, just past 2023, it was finally Oblivion's turn. And I'm very happy that we played it. Here's the thing, all right? I know that Oblivion's a little outdated, right? There's a lot of gameplay mechanics there that aren't so good. And quite honestly, I feel like the side content in the game is actually better than the main plot. Although the main plot is good. When I beat it finally, I was like, wow, that was an epic ending. But the side content is so plentiful and interesting. Doing every little faction and quest and everything is so just fulfilling and rewarding, having their own side quests and things. And the game had so much content that it just felt like coming home every night that we played it, right? Like, oh, I had a busy day earlier today with the stressful game. Tonight, we're just going to chill with Oblivion, and we're going to lean back, and we're going to have a good time, and we're going to chat about Skooma.
Kick back and save scum, right? Dude.
Skooma was another running meme, by the way. I had 2 shorts, and the other one was about Skooma, and I almost picked that one, but I thought that the lockpicking one would be a little bit better. So, there you go. I understand why you guys thought this was one of my best playthroughs of the year. I tend to agree with you for sure on this one. I think it's subjective why it's so low. Again, why was Chrono Trigger so low? Why was this so low? Very simply because these are playthroughs that are retro playthroughs. They don't get mainstream appeal. You're not going to get a bunch of new players jumping in to see them. You know what I'm saying? Like, I kind of get it. But I absolutely, positively love this playthrough. So I get it. I know why you guys picked it. Okay? Cool. And here's to more in the future. Although this year, we're not doing a Bethesda game. We're doing Baldur's Gate 3. For good reason, right? So there you go. Shout out to Danny. Danny just did a super chat saying, my husband and my daughter's birthday is Saturday. They love your videos. Can you wish the men a happy birthday? We love you. All right, sure. Shout out to Danny's family. And I hope that the men have a happy birthday. And thank you for watching. And thank you for the super chat, Danny. I appreciate that very much. Thank you, thank you. Cool. So did I hit it, guys? Did what I say resonate about Oblivion, or do you think there's some other things that should be said? Orange said Oblivion beat Starfield on the list. That's hilarious. Yeah, but again, I'm telling you, like, a lot of people didn't like Starfield, including me, so I'm not surprised that people like the retro playthrough over the new game, right? Lies vs. Soul says, I'm very glad you experienced Oblivion in its entirety. Me too. Sounds good. Haseo says the lockpicking is the true boss of the game. Seems like it. And of course, Lies vs. Soul says, I'm your biggest fan, which is a parody of the adoring fan in the game, right? All right, cool. Let's move on. The number 7 viewer's choice best playthrough that I did in 2017. Wow, let's try that again. The number 7 viewer's choice best playthrough that I did in 2023 was a direct sequel to a game from 2017, which is maybe why I had that in my head. Ladies and gentlemen, The Legend of Zelda Tears of the Kingdom. Now, once again, you might think maybe there's a troll element to this one, but I'm here to tell you something. I like Tears of the Kingdom. It's a really good game. I very much enjoyed playing this game. I did. The thing is, I had to sift through a lot of bloat to get to the meaningful and fun parts of the game. But when I did, I really enjoyed it. I loved the story of the game and its lore, how you had to find these glyphs in the environments, and then you get a little backstory about what happened with Zelda and her time travel mechanics plotline. I actually really liked the physics with the puzzles, moving them around, building things, constructing things. I liked that. I mean, yeah, some of it was a little bit tedious and maybe a little bit over the top use of it in the game, but I really liked it. You know, were there things I didn't like about the game? Sure. Like I said, I think there was too much bloated content that really wasn't very meaningful. I do believe that the game forced you to kind of walk around a little bit too much. It doesn't give you enough guidance at the beginning, so you get frustrated because you might walk one away and the enemies one-hit kill you. But at the same time, over the time that I learned about it, and you guys helped me as being an interactive streamer, you guys definitely helped me to understand the game. I appreciated it, and I absolutely did enjoy this game. It was one of the best of the year. Like, no exaggeration. It was one of the best games of 2023, hands down. So, I get it. But I'm kind of wondering if this fully was people who really liked the playthrough to put it at this level of number 7. Or again, if there was a troll element of people who knew that I didn't love all of the game and I did criticize it. So they think, haha, get a game in there that we know he didn't fall in love with. For me, though, I actually enjoyed it a lot. I really did. I don't know why people get the impression I don't like the game. I do. I think what it is sadly, there's some people out there that they just have this black and white mindset. If someone doesn't absolutely love something, they must hate it. Well, I don't absolutely love Tears of the Kingdom, but I think it's a good game. But I guess that means I hate it, right? No, I don't hate it. It makes sense for me for this to be on the countdown, okay?
Oh, Phil, sit on the fence.
Let's see what people say here.
I'm spitting on myself. Sit on the fence, Phil. Right in the fucking middle, like you always do.
Let's see here. So Matthew says, evening, just finished RoboCop. I absolutely loved it. Glad to hear that. I did too. 672 did a super chat and says, this is Tears of Boredom. Boo. Lucky Gremlin says, is this the worst playthroughs of the year countdown? No, that was last night. But no, that was actually the most disappointing games, not the worst playthroughs. I take that back. Haseo says, remember, the chat told you that you can reuse your amiibo. That's right, my Twilight Princess amiibo, the only one that I own, in order to scan it once a day and get more meat, and it helped. You're right. That's what I mean. Like, the chat genuinely helped that playthrough to be better. Bloomkit says, blink 4 times if someone is making you say this.
Yeah, they literally held your fucking hand every fucking step of the way. Every step of the way.
I'm being honest in my content. I'm not being held at gunpoint. I promise you.
Scan your amiibo.
I promise you that Nintendo is not going to storm my house and
for infinite heals, dude.
Mallet, like a Hammer Brothers mallet. If I don't say that Zelda is good, because I do believe it's a good game. Let's get 672 up there. Cool. All right. So 4 down, 6 to go. We're getting up there now in the rankings. The number 6 Viewer's Choice Best Playthrough of the Year is a game that I purely enjoyed. First of all, it was shockingly good. I didn't expect it to be as good as it was. This was one of those games that it was kind of like, not sure. Could be good, might not be. Ended up exceeding all expectations.
It's to the point where it makes me mad at the developers, dude.
That actually did innovation. And which is so rare these days to see a game actually try to do something different that's never been done before.
It's not their fault,
and because of that, I feel like this is a game that's going to resonate with a lot of people for a long time. The game that I am talking about
let this happen
Alan
in the game, dude.
Wake 2. That's right. Remember, Alan Wake is a very old game, over a decade old. And when it came out, I thought the story was outstanding, but I can definitely tell you that I felt the gameplay elements got very repetitive and just not very interesting. By the end, it just felt like it was too much of the same. All right? But I loved the story.
The cheese is so bad sometimes that it's like, how could they...
Never happened. So here we are over a decade later, and
can
luckily
this be
Remedy has put
possible
out
in
a
the
couple
game,
hits
dude?
of games. In fact, their last game, Control, was their best-selling game.
How can it be possible to cheese this hard in the game?
They were now able to make a proper sequel to the original Alan Wake. And let me tell you, this game was
on the
way
edge of
better
the
than
map
Alan Wake 1. I would say this game is
with
twice
ammo?
as good as Alan Wake 1.
It doesn't have to move and beats the whole game.
It's got amazing writing, great acting, both the mocap but also real life actors acting in the playthrough of the game or the game itself.
Like,
amazing.
Great game, dude.
The story,
seriously,
having layer after layer,
you did a great job
like an onion.
making
you
this
peel
game.
one layer off, there's another layer underneath, and it's just like never ending, right? You're always trying to guess what's really going on. Are they inside of this lake in this supernatural force? Are they outside? What's really happening? What's not happening?
The games are so bad that poorly made and poorly coded that Phil can just
think the reason people really like this
breeze
game,
through every fucking game,
because
dude.
I liked it so much. You could tell when I was playing Alan Wake 2, I was engaged. I was focused on the game. I was interested in the plot. I was always wondering what was going to happen next. Even at parts like this, where there's no plot, but instead of just kind of wandering around looking for secrets and enemies, I'm still having a good time talking with you guys about it. And I definitely thought that the plot was one of the most original I've ever seen in a game. Having that musical number in there, which is literally one of the most creative things I've ever seen in any video game ever. I mean, this game resonated on all notes. Now, why is this not number one? Because, of course, I think that people, number one, it was not an overhyped game. You know what I'm saying? Like, Alan Wake 2 as a game was kind of, I wonder if it'll be good. And it definitely worked for a certain audience, but a certain audience it didn't. And, you know, it's not the game that received all the praise from everyone, like the mainstream media and stuff like that. But I loved it. So I'm not surprised to see that it made the top 10. All right. Should it have made higher or lower? I don't know. I mean, that's a subjective question. Personally, being that it is so creative in some of the things that it did, I probably like it more than you guys, honestly. You know,
I know, they cater to like the easy mode gamer, but like it's so annoying, dude.
Experience that's entertaining and good enough for them. But for me, I don't want good enough anymore. I want exceeding, excelling.
And if he thinks it's going to be too hard, he'll skip it.
So many different ways, and that's why I like it so much. So, Alan Wake 2, I get it. I know why you guys put it into the top 10. I agree with you completely. Very nice pick, in my opinion. Okay. Very good. So, that's your bottom 5. All right? Now we're going to head into your top 5 Viewers' Choice Best Playthroughs of the Year. And I wonder what games are going to be in there, right? See, some people think that the game was woke. I don't know why you think that. I wasn't aware of any woke themes whatsoever in the game. I think maybe a lot of you were actually pretty bigoted yourselves, and you just think that because there's a woman of color as one of the main characters, you can't handle it. I think you should probably look in the mirror and deal with your own issues. Quite frankly, I don't really care. I've said this many times. I don't care who the characters are in the game. As long as the game is well written and the characters are well developed and the plot is interesting and the gameplay elements are good, the main character could be a stinky gym sock for all I care. Really. I mean, I don't give two shits. But some people have so many problems with that kind of shit in the modern day. Maybe you should grow up a little bit. All right? Okay. Anyway, let's continue, shall we? So, now we're going to get into, by the way, No Sleep Real Vibe says, definitely the best part of the game was that museum concert walking action moment. It was so unique. Are we ever going to forget that? Seriously. It was so unique. It's something you're probably never going to see in another game now, right? Cool. All right. Continuing on. Now we're getting into the top 5, all right? And so you might start thinking with these top 5 picks, are these maybe my top 5 games of the year? Keep in mind something. These are not my picks. These are your picks, okay? So just because they're in the top 5 here does not necessarily mean this is going to be representative of my top 5 game picks of the year, all right? Just throwing that out there. All right. Let's go ahead and get into the top 5. So the number 5 fan voted or viewer's choice best playthrough of the year is a tie. Technically, we have an actual voting tie for 4th place, if you can believe it. Yeah, A dead-on tie. It was exactly the same number of votes for both games. I didn't think that would happen because we had something like 2,000 total votes that came in. But we have a tie. Tying at exactly 187 votes each. All right? So let's get into it. The first game in this tie, Hogwarts Legacy. And I'm not surprised, again, to see this one in your picks for your favorite playthroughs of mine of the year. This was a very early 2023 game. What was it, like early February it came out? There wasn't much else going on. It had a lot of time to be played. And the fact that this game,
it's the worst and the best. Like, I don't get this, bro.
A realistic representation of the Hogwarts the Hogwarts Magical Academy, plus its surrounding areas, right? Such as Hogsmeade, and there's all dungeons and all kinds of stuff. The first time that you really had control over the realistic spells from the movies in any kind of a combat capacity that made sense and it wasn't just button mashing. And definitely the first time that I ever played a Potter game. I had never touched one before, right? So it was really my reintroduction after having seen the Potter movies ages ago. My reintroduction to that Harry Potter universe, okay? This game was super chill fun. Like, I'd argue for the first 5 to 6 streams, everyone was having a ton of fun with this game as we explored, you know, the music, or I keep saying music, the magic school and all those surrounding areas. Now, admittedly, this game did have some problems near the end. I talked about this in my disappointing games countdown last night, that by the end of the game, it kind of runs out of ideas and it kind of sputters out and gets boring near the end. But for our first 15 plus hours, the exploration is like pure delight. What new cool thing are you going to find around the next corner? What awesome new minigame or puzzle is there to solve? Then you get a new spell and it totally is cool and flips things on its head. Then you get to ride your broom around, open world traversal. It's really, really neat in that regard, okay? And the other thing is, this is a game for all ages. You know, a kid could probably play this game and like it. An adult that likes Harry Potter could play this game and like it. And it really was a great way to start this year. The shame was all the nonsensical political controversy around the game. If you want to hear that story, I already talked about it many times, but even in my disappointing games countdown, I don't want to get into it again. It was pretty upsetting that just because I chose this game and I made the decision, hey everyone, I'm playing Hogwarts Legacy, that I had to like justify my choice with a YouTube short explaining why I'm separating the politics from the game, and I don't agree with the politics of the creator of Potter, but it still means that I can still enjoy the game because I can separate that because I'm an adult. I'm not an immature person who thinks the whole world is black and white, right? But it is what it is, okay? I really liked this playthrough. It's a long one, by the way. Like, it was actually one of the longer playthroughs I did in 2023. Surprisingly, a ton of content in this game compared to what you probably would have thought a game like this would have had. I recommend it if you skipped it. It's a pretty good game, okay? Cool. Now, that was the tie for 4th. I'm going to tell you what other game tied with Hogwarts Legacy in just a moment. But this guy says, I wish they did new minigames when you went to the southern part of the map. Act 3 was so meh. Like I said, they absolutely ran out of ideas. You could tell by the last third of the game, they wanted like a 40-hour game. And by hour 25, they were like, we did all the spells, all the traversal, all the puzzles. We ran out of ideas. Just put more of them down in that region. And that's why the last, 10 plus hours of the game is very boring. The final story missions are fine, but to get there, you have to go through this kind of boring grind. And that's really why the game isn't as good as it could have been, in my opinion. I think they did screw that up. So I'll agree with you there. Okay. Gabriel says, this over Alan Wake is a travesty. Well, keep in mind, this is the viewers choosing. This is not me. I get it. It's out of my hands, And if we like this idea, if we do this every year or whatever, right? That's great. And maybe things will be more in line with your personal beliefs next year. I don't know. I'm sure people will be leaving comments on this video. By the way, if you're watching this on demand on YouTube, please by all means leave comments. Do you agree with the overall voting results? Do you think they should have went otherwise? Like, what do you think? Obviously, or maybe a playthrough that you loved wasn't even on this list. Let me know in the comments. I'd love to hear it. Okay? All right. Ladies and gentlemen, the game that tied for 4th place in the Viewer's Choice Best Playthrough of 2023, the game that had exactly 187 votes as well, tied with Hogwarts Legacy, that game is known by one name, and that name is Lies of P. That's right. The playthrough that also shocked me this year, because I don't think many people had great expectations for this game. We didn't know if it was going to be good or not. And we start playing, we're like, this feels like Bloodborne. And then we play more, and the story gets interesting, and you get new weapons, and you're fighting unique bosses, and there's all this lore in the environment. You're like, this really does feel like Bloodborne. Actually, this feels like Bloodborne Plus, like the sequel to Bloodborne that we've always kind of wanted, but never got. The graphics were outstanding. This game ran beautifully on the Xbox Series X, like smooth 60 frames. Gameplay elements were sound, and the different weapons you changed made the game play differently as well. The story was outstanding. So I think you could probably figure out that I really like this game, and I'm going to talk a lot more about this later on tonight. So I don't want to go too much into detail about Lies of P. Just let you know, if you're someone who likes FromSoft games and you play the FromSoft knockoffs, right? Lords of the Fallen, or Thymesia, or The Remnant, or whatever the hell it was called, or, there's like 10 of 20 of these in the last few years, all right? And if you're looking at all the ones that came out in 2023, in my opinion, this is the best one. There was a lot of them that attempted it. There was no real FromSoft entry this year. This was the best of the bunch by droves. Like, it was super duper good. I loved every minute of the playthrough. People were excited that even the ending doesn't fizzle out. The bosses, the end, everything is good. Just a really, really well done game. And by the way, I don't know if you guys heard, it sold really well, and they've already announced they are absolutely making more games now. This is not a one and done. They are going to make more games now because this one did so well. So here's the thing. I'm not surprised to see Lies of P in your picks for the top 10 best playthroughs of the year. I'm just maybe a little shocked that it's at that placing. Some people are like, how the hell did that tie with Hogwarts? I don't know. There's different audiences. I do want to emphasize something. I have very different audiences. I have people who come for relaxing, chill content. I have people who come for more stressful content. People who want to laugh at me raging, but people who want to revel in my victories. There's people who just come for me to talk on the podcast every day, but then there's people who like to see my React content every Sunday. I have all these different audiences who like different things. So just because you particularly didn't like a particular game doesn't mean someone else didn't. And the flip side of that, maybe you really liked the game and you're upset. Some people in chat are literally like, revolt, because Lies of P should have been higher. Well, first of all, you don't know what the top 3 are. Maybe you'll agree that the top 3 playthroughs that were voted in were better. I don't know. But the other thing you got to remember is that different strokes for different folks. I love Lies of P. I think it was one of the best games of the year. But other people liked other playthroughs more. I'm okay with that, Cool? Okay. All right, guys, let's continue. We've made it to the top 3. All right? And the top 3 games, well, I should say, excuse me, I got to correct myself. The top 3 playthroughs, all right? I do not disagree with any 3 of these, all right? But at the same time, I want you to understand that this is a different countdown than Game of the Year. So you might see a little bit of different stuff in here than what's going to be in my Game of the Year awards. The number 3 Viewer's Choice Best Playthrough of 2023 was a game that was my most played of 2023, Street Fighter 6. And this game gave us so much content over the course of 2023. First of all, it had a very lengthy, detailed World Tour mode, which I'm showcasing right now on stream, because a lot of people don't talk about it. But to actually have a created character that you can run around this open world, fighting enemies, doing boss fights, and actually has an interesting story, you can level the character up with different items and things, is pretty darn unique, all right? But also, Street Fighter 6 single-handedly reignited the spark and passion that I have for fighting games. Street Fighter 5 deflated me. I thought the game was terrible. I really did. And I was upset because I had made so much content that was Street Fighter previously to that on YouTube, whether it was Super Street Fighter 2 Turbo HD Remix, or Street Fighter 3 Third Strike Online Edition, or Street Fighter 4. But then when Street Fighter 5 came out, I was like, I can't believe how bad this game is. It is just so pathetic compared to those previous entries that I've been playing. And so, when Street Fighter 6 was announced, and they said, oh, they're doing this change, and it's going to be different, I was like, dude, all these changes sound good, and I'm going to give it an honest shot. People were sad that I hadn't been into fighting games for so long, when I used to be known as a fighting game YouTuber for a while, all right? So, I can definitely tell you this, okay? This game there's a reason why this is my most played game of the year. You understand what I'm saying? And the reason is they listened to all the feedback that they got from their fighting game community, the casual players, everyone. They gave us probably what could be considered the best total package product for a fighting game ever presented at launch. This awesome World Tour mode that's over 20 hours long, an insanely good training mode, great visuals, amazing graphics, right? A robust and interesting and varied launch cast. And, I mean, even though it's not as good right now that we're 7-8 months in, at launch, this was absolutely the best online experience I ever had with any fighting game. The lag was nearly non-existent. I had constant opponents, tons of great connections, and it was just super fun. Thank God there's variety in the game, because when you play Street Fighter V, no matter who you picked, you felt like you were playing exactly the same game. In Street Fighter VI, the game plays very differently depending on the class and character that you pick, which is really neat. So, I get it. And, you know, we had Friday Night Fights reinvigorated and brought back to the forefront as a result of Street Fighter VI being so good. We had the return of community nights, which is probably one of the major reasons why people voted this in as number 3 best playthrough, because we had people coming and playing against me once a week in a really cool environment. What other game do I do that? Zero. So this game brought out more content from me than a lot of others.
Street Fighter? Number 1?
So I totally get it. Now, admittedly, today, the game's not as good. You're 8 months into a game, and it's ran its life cycle. The meta is established. Everyone knows the abusable online stuff. The netcode's not so good anymore because there's way fewer players. It is what it is. But for those first few 6 months, that almost honeymoon period, this game was the best fighting game I had ever played at that time. So, I get it. I know why you guys like it. I'm not giving up on it. I will continue to play it over time, just not as much. And I really hope that you guys enjoyed that really awesome time that we had with the game.
Number 3.
Will I ever have another time like that again with another fighting game? I don't even know. I really don't. I'm getting older now, guys, you know? So I'm just happy to have been giving you that 6 months of my life where we could really focus on fighting games again and enjoy them. So it was awesome. And yeah, No Supervisor just reminded me I got to finish the story. We're at the end, and I never got around to it. We should eventually, one of these nights, just finish it. And yes, the thing is, it was also very rage-inducing. You're right.
Phil can't finish the story, dude. He got stuck.
Better at, and I'm not doing as well because of factors like online connections.
That's why he quit the story mode, because he started getting wrecked.
That passion. I'm only that angry because I have that much passion.
No, you're that angry because you suck ass at that shit,
we're to the top 2. And so, we're down to the nitty-gritty. I'll be honest with you guys. The game that you voted as the number 2 fan
he ran away from story mode, dude.
I did not expect to see at all in the rankings, nor did I expect to see it here at the place that you put it. I'm shocked. All right? But I guess it makes sense in the big scheme of things when you really think big picture. All right? You know, I started thinking more and more about it, why it would be here. And as I started thinking more about it, I was like, oh, you know what? I guess it kind of makes sense. Only because of how special it was to a lot of people, and a playthrough where it was kind of a really cool anniversary. Ladies and gentlemen, the number 2 viewer choice playthrough of 2023 was Grand Theft Auto 5, the 10-year anniversary run featuring Trevor's trip to Narnia, which you're seeing right now.
Bro, these are all like old ass games, dude.
Yeah.
Yeah. Did you play anything new?
So why do I believe GTA 5, all right, hit my top 2 playthroughs of the year? There's a few different reasons. Let's be honest. Number 1, GTA games are fan favorites and always have been. Viewers love when I play GTA. It doesn't matter if it's a classic GTA, a modern GTA, an HD remake of an old GTA.
As long as it's GTA.
Right? The games are irreverent.
Phil, you should play GTA 2, dude.
They're immature. They're funny.
Bro,
they're challenging.
Phil can't beat GTA 2.
They have good stories. They have good gameplay in some cases. Sometimes not so much, the older ones. But they hold up. Like, you could still play Vice City today and have an insane amount of fun with it, right? So I get it. I know why you guys like seeing me play GTA. Now, in particular, with GTA 5, this was a playthrough that I had only done once in full ever when it was a new release way back when in 2013. I played through the entire game at that time when it was hot and new, and I beat it within a week or two. People loved it, right? But then what happened was, I tried to play it again the next year way too fast because it came out on PS4 the next year running at 60 frames per second and even had a first-person mode. That was a mistake. I tried to play it so fast after my original run, people were burnt out and didn't like it, and were like, why the heck did you just try to play the game twice? And I never played it again after like the first 10 hours or so. We quit it, right? But here's the deal. Over the years, this became a classic playthrough for a lot of people. They went back and watched me play it again and again and again and absolutely loved it. And as I fell kind of out of love with the game because everyone just went to GTA Online, right? If this game had narrative-based expansions, I absolutely would have played all of them. I love the DLCs that they did for previous GTA games. I've played them all. But they decided not to do any for this game because it was all about GTA Online. So what ended up happening was, with the focus of everything being online for the last decade, I think that the desire to see me play more GTA just grew. Now, I did. I replayed some of the classic GTAs a couple times and things like that. But man, where's the modern GTA? We were all fiending for it for a decade. And I told you guys something very important. I said, if there is a reason to go back and play GTA 5 again, I will, but we're just not time yet. And I just kept putting it off and putting it off. And then finally in 2023, I said, you know what? There's rumors. Remember, they had the big leaks that GTA 6 was in development. And at the same time, it was the 10-year anniversary of the game, and we had some bonus extra time kind of in the summertime. And I said, all right, you know what? Now this seems like this would be the best time. Let's do it. And we did it. And even though, I'll be honest, did it get tons of attendance and stuff? No, not really. Did it blow the records off? No, it didn't. But the people who were there, a lot of the times, were very, very happy to see it be there because they're like, man, this is a memorable playthrough, Phil. You don't understand. You've been around for so long.
Nice footage, dude.
15 plus years as a content creator.
Fire,
a lot of us grew up watching
shorts,
your
dude.
stuff. And now here we are as young adults, or in some cases middle-aged. And now we can reminisce about those old days while we watch you play it again with a new setup, a new mentality, interaction. It's a little different, and it makes it better. So those who watched this special 10-year anniversary playthrough really seem to appreciate it, even though it wasn't a
we're
giant
at number 2, and it's only 8 o'clock, dude.
Views. The people that were there loved it.
The stream's
and
about to be over,
I appreciated that
dude.
too, you know.
He's about to run out
So
of
I'm
content.
very happy
like, one more
that
thing.
you guys got to enjoy this with me again one more time.
One more entry
Now it's
here.
done, and now we just got to wait another 17 years for GTA 6. You know, we got its first trailer, right? I'm sure when GTA 6 comes out, no exaggeration, people are going to come out in droves to watch me play it. Because, again, GTA is kind of like the playthroughs people love to watch me play the most. So,
yeah, it's going to be Q&A,
excited.
dude.
You know, I wish we had more information about GTA 6, but
it's gonna be
for
Q&A,
now,
dude.
I want to say thank you. That was an amazing anniversary run playthrough.
He already hit his goal. He made 60
We've
bucks,
done it.
you know?
We've been through the top 9. Everyone have a good night. I'll see you next year.
Dude, it doesn't get... Phil, it's not funnier, like... every time you do that, it's...
But we now are at number 1.
It doesn't get any funnier, dude.
Okay? Your viewer's choice best playthrough of 2023. And let's be honest here. We all know what it is. We already knew before I even started
we know
what it was going to be.
What is it?
It was the game that by far was the most requested game of the year. I didn't play it when it first came out, and people were upset because I wasn't playing it as a new release. I explained why.
Oh my God. That's
so you might say,
game of the
why
year?
didn't I play a hot new release at launch? 2 reasons. Number 1, because at launch it wasn't on console yet. I had to wait an additional month to even play it. And number 2,
okay, so
it was
I don't
coming
get this,
out
dude.
right in the midst of the busiest gaming season of the year, but this game is insanely long.
These are
over
the
100
viewers.
hours long. What would make the sense of trying to play a game like
these
that?
These are chosen by the viewers.
2, 3, 4 other new releases a week for months.
Do we get
I'm never going to
fills?
be able to give this game enough time or
List
dedication.
or no?
All right. The good news is I continuously listen to all of your feedback over the year, and then finally at the end of the year, once all the other new releases were played and fizzled out,
or is it just
I
the
said I'm going
viewers
to listen
list?
to you. We're going to do it now when I have a good amount of time to dedicate to it. And so, yes, ladies and gentlemen, over the last 3 weeks to month, right, I've been heavily focused on this playthrough, and I think we're all enjoying it very, very much. Of course, it is no surprise to anyone that the number 1 fan-voted or viewer's choice playthrough of the year was Oblivion. Okay, no. It was Baldur's Gate 3, which is a playthrough that is currently still in progress. We're about 40 hours in right now, and we haven't finished the game yet. Not even close. We haven't even finished Act 1 of 3 yet. So you can see my point is that when it came out back in, what was it, like September on the PS5? Do you realize in September I was playing Lies of P?
Yeah, this
Realized
is
that there was like
stupid,
5,
dude.
6, 7, 8 major releases
This is
that
really
came out
dumb,
right
dude.
after that we were all playing. Boom, 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 boom.
This is
So if
a
I
waste of
played it
time,
back
bro.
then, I know what would have happened. People would have liked it for a week and been very upset that I didn't focus on it, been pissed off, and it wouldn't have pleased no one, and basically the playthrough would have been dead in the water. I'm very happy that I waited to play it. But now that I'm playing it, I can understand why so many people like it, why so many people say this is their pick for Game of the Year 2023. All right? It's great. It's got great graphics. It's got good story. It's got good character building with each individual character. All right? It's got a huge map with tons
That's
of
what this
content
is,
that you
dude. This is
stumble upon.
their game of the year.
Every fight is meaningful. There's literally no
This
fighting
isn't
in the
their
game that's
favorite
just a waste
DSP
of a
playthrough.
grind. Every fight's kind of unique.
This is their
and
favorite
well-placed and
game, like-
well-designed. It's got what's the word? Curated.
I
The
guarantee
game
it has
feels
nothing to do with your
highly
playthrough, dude.
Curated. That everything in the game is happening for a reason. Correct? That's great. That's great attention to detail when they make the game. Now, here's the thing. There are things about the game that are rough for me. You know, for example, the combat, it's very slow paced. It's turn-based. It's strategic-based with where your characters are placed and the reach of their attacks and things like that. I'm not used to playing that kind of game. I'm not. I'm used to playing a more traditional Japanese turn-based RPG that doesn't really have that kind of complexity. I do feel that Baldur's Gate 3 is a style of game that's way more complex than the style of game that I would be used to playing. And I've already said this during the playthrough. You know, I'm 40 hours into it, but I've already said this multiple times. If it weren't for me being an interactive streamer who has an audience to be there along the way to help me to understand the mechanics, the lore, and everything in the game, I would not like this game. I'm being as transparent as possible. This is the kind of game that it is not accessible to an outsider. It's not. I don't care what you guys think. It's not. I'm telling you, I was an outsider. This is not accessible. There's too much going on. It's too complex. There's things that are not outright explained in the game whatsoever, but you're just supposed to know or understand in combat. And if it wasn't for you guys around to make this game accessible through all of your interactions and your engagement in the streams, I would not like this game. I would probably sit there and hate it. As I compare it, I compare this to my original run of Dark Souls 1. This is a game that's outstanding. Everyone knows to this day Dark Souls 1 is a classic. I agree with you. I went on to be a ginormous fan of the FromSoft style game. But when I did my first run of Dark Souls 1, not in understanding the mechanics, not enjoying the difficulty level, getting lost, having no guidance, and the game literally teaching you nothing about
Getting lost.
I hated it. I was like, I can't understand why anyone likes this game, and I just dropped the game and never played it again when I hit Blighttown. Until years later, you guys convinced me to play it again as a live streamer, and you basically gave me kind of a guided tour of the game, explaining the mechanics along the way. And when that happened, I got a good appreciation for it, and I went back and played it 1, 2, 3, Demon Souls, Sekiro, Bloodborne multiple times, Elden Ring, a million spin-offs like Neo, and now games this year like Wolong and Lies of P. I'm a fan of that genre now.
He's a gamer.
And you guys have the credit for that. Not me. I didn't take the time to do it. You did. You taught me about it, and now I love it. It's some of the best favorite games that you like to see me play. Perhaps, in time, games like Baldur's Gate 3 can become the same. It's a genre that I didn't understand, and I was super confused and scratching my head, and I didn't really get it, but now I kind of do, even though I'll admit it's still complex. If I wasn't doing this as a live stream, I don't know if I'd really like it that much. Doing it with the interactivity with you guys, helping me to understand the lore.
Yeah, they do everything for you.
It's really neat for you guys to help me to understand everything. So, for a social playthrough,
they hold your hand, bro.
I get it. If I was playing this offline, I would never say that this game was as good, but I think having that social aspect to it makes it better. You know what a lot of people say, too? This game is multiplayer. So a lot of people went through this game playing with their friends, and they have one person who knows about D&D kind of carrying the playthrough, right? I get that, because that's what I feels like. I feel like you guys are my friends who are carrying me and helping me through it, so I know what I'm doing. So thank you so much for that, because again, if it weren't for you, I probably wouldn't like this nearly as much as I do. So for the number one pick for your viewers' choice favorite playthrough of 2023, I get it. Although, admittedly, I will say this, a little weird because it's not really a playthrough of 2023. It started in 2023, but there's no way it's going to finish. It's already a week into 2024. It continues on, right? And I just don't get it. I'm just like scratching my head because, I mean, you guys want what you want, right? And technically, yeah, that playthrough started in 2023. If you think it was the best one of last year, that's cool. But you know what's funny? When we do this again next year, technically, Baldur's Gate 3 could also be your favorite playthrough of 2024. It could be. That's up to you. But I'm hoping that there's going to be other great games as well that come out this year that you'll think were maybe better than that. I don't know. But that would be funny if it wins 2 years in a row. Okay? Anyway, I just want to say, Guitar Player, thank you for that super chat. I totally missed it. Guitar Player had done a super chat. He said, Hogwarts Legacy is my favorite game of this year, actually. I'm glad to hear that. I do feel like Hogwarts Legacy didn't get the love it deserved from a lot of people, particularly the games media, because of the controversy around it. But I'm very happy that it did get the love and attention that it deserved from my audience, right? You guys loved the playthrough, as evidenced here by the fact that you voted it in and tied it at number 4. So, guys, gals, everyone else, that is it. What did you think about the Viewer's Choice Best Playthroughs of 2023 Countdown? Did you like it? Did you not like it? I'm curious. I personally thought this went well. I enjoyed it, so I hope that you guys did too, and I hope that perhaps you'd like to see this again next year, but I want your feedback. Please leave comments on this video. Let me know in future streams, did you enjoy this countdown? This is not Game of the Year. This is your picks, right? So, that was a little different. Just keep in mind, games like GTA 5, games like Chrono Trigger, right? Oblivion, those will never be in my Game of the Year awards. They're retro games, but it's really cool to see them appear in this special countdown. So, thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed, and leave some comments to let me know what you thought. In the meantime, be safe. Have a fun year. I hope you'll enjoy all the stuff going on DSP Gaming this year, and maybe I'll see you back in early 2024. We'll be voting on these again. Thanks, everyone. Peace out, and see you later. Okay. Guys, that one is in the bag. All right? Now we have another hour. And for this next hour, it's time for my picks. Okay? It's time for my picks. There you go. Cool. One thing I'm going to do here to get ready for the next hour is I'm going to change the layout a little bit. You ready for this? So the first thing I'm going to do is this. And the second thing I'm going to do is this. I clicked the wrong thing. Hold on. And the third thing I'm going to do, if I can find it, is this. And the last thing I'm going to do, well, there's actually 2 more things I'm going to do. I'm going to do this. And I'm going to do this. There we go. Now we're ready for my Game of the Year awards.
Here we go. This is Bill's version.
Now that's production value.
That's what I thought.
We're halfway through tonight's stream. I want to say thank you to everyone who's chilling and anyone who supported in any way. I really appreciate that. Great viewership, a few super chats, a few memberships, a good amount of tips. Thank you guys so much for that. Again, same rules for this second hour. I'm going to do my pick, explain why it is my pick. I'll take your feedback after the fact. I'll do shout outs for contributions in between. See what I'm saying? Okay. It looks like a super chat came in. Yes, it's from Cosmos. He says, Baldur's Gate 3 as an honorable mention would be better. All right? There you go. But you're talking, Cosmos, you got to understand something. This is the viewer's choice playthroughs. It's not my countdown, right? So, no worries. This is about to be my game of the year right now. Okay? No worries. Don't freak out. Okay. People get a little jumpy. I understand. Don Fanucci hates it. He says, this absolutely hates it. I just want a game of the year. Well, too bad. That's too sad that you didn't like it. My webcam is a bit close to the DSP logo. That's because I love it. I love this logo. I caress it nicely. See, I gently, I'll tickle it. Like, he goes, hoo-hoo-hoo. It loves it. It's like the Pillsbury Doughboy go, hoo-hoo.
What the fuck?
Anyway, I received a $5 tip from Dan the Man. Thank you, Dan the Man, for a $5 tip. I appreciate that very, very much.
There you go.
Let's get that up on the leaderboard.
Dan the Man sending over the PDF file now.
Up to $88 in tips. So, pretty cool. And we are close to our hat goal. If we hit $100 tonight, there'll be a hat. How about this? I'll tell you exactly what it'll be. If we hit it tonight, I'll put on the cowboy hat to match the statue. That way we can have a nice matching thing. I will look like the living award. there you go. Sound good? Guy says, I might have to make a golden trophy if you haven't sent to my P.O. box. Do not do that. First of all, I don't have a P.O. box. Number two, if anything comes to my house and I don't know what it is, I immediately
look how they're all hyping him up in chat, dude.
Furnace and burning it into ash, only for personal safety reasons. But maybe if we discuss that ahead of time, then maybe I would accept it if we talk about it behind the scenes. So, so there you go. PS3 Troop, it says, is that a preview of your 2025 physique? If that was my physique, I think I might be dead, because if my body was covered in molten gold like that, it probably wouldn't survive very long. I'd be scalded to death and wouldn't be able to breathe. First of all, you can see my head is like twice the width of the actual neck. So I'm probably, all my internal organs are probably crushed or maybe liquefied in there. So probably not. I would hope not. I hope that my body stays more of a normal human, what do they call it? Proportions in 2024. So there you go. Bloomkid says, what if someone sends a whole furnace? That'd be interesting. I don't know how that would get to my house. I already have one, so I'm not too worried about that. I already have a heater. But anyway, thank you, Bloomkid, for the super chat. I don't know what you're talking about. Anyway. All right. All right, are we ready?
What thumbnail,
to actually get into my actual Game of the Year awards
Those
now? I hope so. What's up, Vietnamese comrade? Good evening. Good to see you.
What was my
Bruce
thumbnail?
Says, don't touch the hands of Midas. There you go. Oh, I just received a $12 tip from Guitar Player. Thank you, Guitar Player, for a $12 tip. I appreciate that. And with that tip, it is absolutely official. We hit $100 tips tonight, which means it will be a cowboy hat to match the award. How funny is that? That I get to match my own award here on my Game of the Year award stream. That is great. Very, very nice. Thank you very much. Let me get the hat. All right.
Net organic growth.
Vietnamese comrade says, I'm doing well at the year-end series. I'm glad to hear that. They're not done. I'm about to do my Game of the Year right now. You're jumping the gun. We're not done yet. We got another hour to go here, guys. Come on. Don't go anywhere. Did people leave? Hold on. They did? Like 50 people left. We're not done. We didn't even do my Game of the Year awards yet. Where are you going? What is going on?
50 people.
Right? Where are people going?
That's nothing.
All right.
Bro, you're boring.
Are we ready? Are we ready? Wait, I received another $12 tip? I got another $12 tip. This one is from Chris. So like 2 people wanted me to put on the hat. So thank you, Chris, for the $12. And now we're at $112 tonight. So thank you very much, Chris. Cool. Well, we did it. We definitely did it. Excellent. And for the record, if we do hit $150, I'll put on the gold vest. Then I will really look like the award. If I'm wearing the gold vest with the hat, I'll look exactly the same. So there you go.
Oh, get baited for tips.
All right. You ready? I think we should get started. Let's do this. The big finale. Okay. Hello, everyone out there. It is now officially time for my annual Game of the Year Awards countdown here on DSP Gaming. You know, for over 15 years, I have been someone who has absolutely strove to give you honesty, transparency, and fun in all of my playthroughs. You know that when I play a game, I can be totally honest about what you're watching, because I don't behold to anyone, right? I'm not going to lose a sponsor. I'm not going to get in trouble because I kiss a game's butt or I say a game sucks. And that's really why I really try to do my absolute best at the end of the year to pick the games that I feel were the best of the year. I don't even review games anymore like I used to. So to a lot of people, these game rankings that I do are actually a mystery, although people try to guess. I pride myself on, you know, being honest and truthful and transparent, and hopefully you feel that that'll come through in my Game of the Year awards this year. And let me tell you, 2023 was a great year for games. It was also a disappointing year for games. If you want to see my take on the most disappointing games, I've already done a separate video on this channel for that countdown. I hope you'll check it out. But now, it is time to truly recognize the greats, the games that stood out among the pack. And let me tell you, this year was a year where certain games were so good that they made their competition look like dirt. And on a normal year, maybe that wouldn't have been the case. But a lot of the games that we're about to talk about in this countdown actually stood apart from the others in such a great way that they just trounced their competition and made them look like amateur night. You know what I'm saying? So I'm excited to go through this countdown for sure. And I hope that you guys will enjoy it. The way it works is I'm going to name a number in the countdown. I'm going to explain why that's in my countdown. And I'm going to play a video clip to show you footage of that game during this countdown. After each number, I'm going to go to the chat and see what they have to say, if they agree or disagree, or what their comments are. If any contributions happen to come in during this countdown, I am going to shout them out because this is an interactive live stream as well as an on-demand video. By all means, leave comments on this video if you're watching it after the fact on demand and let me know. Do you agree with my picks? Do you disagree? What's your take? I would love to hear it, okay? Without further ado, it is now time to get into my top 10 best games of 2023. But before we do that, ladies and gentlemen, I feel like I would be doing a massive disservice if I did not do one honorable mention. And that honorable mention this year is Baldur's Gate 3. Okay? Some people thought that I might have counted Baldur's Gate 3 in my countdown for Game of the Year 2023. However, I feel like that would not be fair. And the reason for that is very simple, okay? I started playing it in December. I'm only around 40 hours into a 120-hour, arguably long game. So if I ranked this in my Game of the Year awards, I feel like that would be unfair. Right now, I don't want to rank it. I like it. You guys know that. You know that I'm really enjoying this playthrough, correct? But I don't want to formally rank it when I don't know what the rest of the game is. What if this game is really strong in the first third and fizzles out in the last third like a couple other games that happened to this year? Then maybe I wouldn't think of it as great, right? So I'm not going to rank this at all in my top 10 games of the year, but I will say this. I'm going to continue to play this game in 2024. And
yeah, he hates that shit.
When I finish it in 2024, I will consider it for my Game of the Year awards for next year. That's right. Even though technically it's not from 2024, I'm going to consider it for next year's countdown. And you may very well see it, at least if it stays at the good pacing and the good quality that it's in right now for Act 1, perhaps you will see this in my Game of the Year awards next year. Okay? So now that we've got that out of the way, and I can actually focus on the games that I did play fully in 2023, let's get started. All right. And there goes half my viewership. They're out. They're gone. They're like, nah, we wanted to see Baldur's Gate. Oh, well. Tune in tomorrow. I'm playing it on stream. All right. So, the number 10 best game of 2023 is going to shock you all. Because the truth is that some people just see things as black and white. And so if I criticize a game, a lot of people, a lot of the time, say things like, I can't believe he would criticize the game but then like it. So they just think I hate it. But that's not the truth. There's games out there that I criticize strongly because I wish they were better, but that doesn't mean that they're not great games. And in fact, when I was narrowing it down to like my top games of the year, this one shocked me, but I wanted it in the countdown. I was like, I totally want this game to get recognition.
If he says
you know
Zelda,
what? Everyone forgot it. Ladies and gentlemen, the game we're about to talk about, I put the wrong clip. I put the wrong clip. Let's try that again. It was another Baldur's Gate 3 clip. Oops. All right. The game I wanted to talk about, where is it? Hold on. That was totally the wrong clip. Oh, crap. I don't have it? Oh, you got to be kidding me. I don't have it. Oh, well, guys, I don't have the clip. This really sucks. I have the wrong clip for you. I put an honorable mention clip twice. Because what I wanted to do, when I did honorable mention, I wanted to talk about this and say Baldur's Gate 3. but I accidentally didn't put the Star Wars clip in. Ladies and gentlemen, the game I wanted to talk about was Star Wars Jedi Survivor, and I don't have a clip of it for you tonight. I'm sorry, okay? So Star Wars Jedi Survivor, maybe I could do it really fast. Hold on. Maybe I can grab a clip really fast, but it's probably going to play the audio, and then I'm going to have to mute it. Let's see. I might have one. Crap. It says Street Fighter 6. Maybe it's under Jedi Survivor. I think it is. Jedi Survivor. Okay. This is going to be real bootleg, and it's going to be loud. Hold on, I got to mute it. Once I play it, I got to mute it. Oh, it's muted. Oh, cool. All right. I pulled it off. Star Wars Jedi Survivor is my number 10 best game of 2023. And you're going to say, what? You're like, what? No way. Phil, you slammed this game. Just last night, it was actually featured in my most disappointing games of the year countdown. So some people are like, I don't understand. Why would Star Wars Jedi Survivor be in your top 10 best games of the year? Because the game is great. This game is leaps and bounds better than Jedi Fallen Order from a few years ago. The combat's better. Having multiple lightsaber stances is incredibly fun. The platforming and parkour is improved. The sneaking abilities and Jedi abilities are better. The graphics are better. The story is way better, right? This game, no lie, if it didn't have the problems that it does have, likely would have been in my top 5 games of 2023. I'm not kidding you. That's how much I liked it. I thought this playthrough was absolutely outstanding. The problem was, when this game came out, all right, both on PC and Xbox, the game ran absolutely horribly. It had game bugs, game crashes, save file corruption, tons of frame rate dips that made the game completely unenjoyable and unplayable in certain parts. And as they say, first impressions are everything. I was loving the game until I got to this part. I couldn't get by it because it was chopping up. It was like 10 frames per second. I can't beat it because the game runs like crap. So I waited. That's something I almost never do. I almost would never delay a playthrough. So I delayed the playthrough about 2 weeks. I went back to it. They still hadn't fixed it. And I said, you know what? I'm just going to tough through it. I'm happy I did. But then the game continued to have issues. Open a chest, look at loot, game crashes. Now you have to replay 15 minutes of gameplay. It's kind of ridiculous in that regard. If this game had more polish, it would be so well received. But the problem was, as I said, first impressions are everything. And when this game came out, sadly, so many people experienced the issues that people just stopped talking about it in any kind of a positive light at all. And what ended up happening was people didn't talk about it for the rest of the year, forgot about it. Game Awards came and went. Only the person who even got nominated was the main actor who played the main character. That was it. Like, no one remembered the gameplay mechanics or anything because they're like, that's that buggy game, right? And that's a shame. This game was so much better than this first one.
Yeah, that's Phil sitting
and now
in the
I'm
middle
worried
of the
maybe
fence,
they won't
dude.
make any more, but the story is unfinished. The story is continuing, and I'm like, man, I want a third game. I hope the third game.
I don't want to offend anybody that might want to tip me.
I was so frustrated with how the game performed, and that held it back. So you might disagree with me, and that's okay. But if you actually watch my playthrough of the game, you're going to see genuine joy and enjoyment for this. You know, you're going to see that and be like, wow,
any single person
I get
ever,
it.
I'm
But
going to
it's
lose
a shame
money.
that the game kind of fell apart, right? So it is what it is. If you disagree, that's fine. But for me, Star Wars Jedi Survivor is my number 10 pick for the best games of 2023. Okay. So Hiseo says, hey, when I played Survivor on PS5, I only had one glitch. Other than that, I never had a major bug or problem. That's what I heard. I did hear that on PS5, the game performed well. But you shouldn't have to only buy it on one of 3 platforms to get the real game, and that's the problem. Maybe if I played it on PS5, it literally would be a top 5 game for me. I don't know. Golden Nobles did a super chat. He says, a 2023 game can be a Game of the Year contender for 2024. Yes, because it's my countdown. I could do whatever I want. I could say that Gonzo the Great goes to Walmart to shop for kumquats is a game contender for this year. I could literally say that, you know, a 1972 Pinto
but it's not
could
true.
be a Game of the Year contender.
But it's not true.
It's my countdown. You see? That's how it works.
But it's not true.
Okay. So let's continue.
But it's not true, dude. So...
Thank you, Golden Nobles, for that very insightful super chat. I really appreciate that. All right. Let's continue. Again, this is another one. My number 9 pick for game of the year, my number 9 best game of the year, I should say, is going to be a game where, again, a lot of people are going to be like, I can't believe it. Because so many people, again, think that it's black and white if a game is good or bad, and that's not true. All right? It's many shades of gray. It's true.
Yeah, I mean, Phil, you can say anything you want.
That because you know what it makes me think of.
I mean,
but anyway,
look at Blade.
I can see both sides of a game, and ultimately there was a game this year that I raged at a lot. Dude. But when I finally got to the good parts of it and I beat it, I actually really enjoyed it. And that game is The Legend of Zelda: Tears of the Kingdom.
But you could do it,
right? And again, people, but you crapped on that game, and you said the frame rate was bad, and you didn't like the elements of it, and la 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 la, right? And listen, okay, I get what you're saying, because I was kind of very critical of the game. That doesn't mean the game is bad, and I can't recognize it for being good, nor does it mean that I disliked the game. In fact, I really liked the game. I did. I just felt it was too bloated. There was too much content to really discern what was important, and it took too long to beat because you were kind of wasting time figuring out what was important to do. But I liked the dungeons. I liked the boss fights. I liked going around and exploring the story and the glyphs. I actually liked solving some of the unique puzzles and aspects of it. I really liked the actual building and physics mechanics that were new to the game. I didn't think I would. Remember, early on I said, I want to play Zelda.
Bill, I don't want to play Minecraft Ages, dude, people would be stoning you right now. Why they're putting building elements in this game, I don't get. It seems like they're trying to wedge in parts of another game. When I finally got around to doing it, I don't think they did. I think they did actually innovate with the building. Problem was, that was pretty much the only thing they innovated in this game. Everything else was kind of a copy-paste of Breath of the Wild, except you know what they did to Beggars back in the day,
it was still a damn good game. But I'm not going to give it like a top 5 ranking when it was too similar to its previous iteration. Still a great game. Still a must-play if you own a Switch.
You wouldn't have a house.
You're kind of doing yourself a disservice if you skipped it. But at the same time, yeah, I'm not going to say it's like my favorite game of the year, but it definitely is a top one, and I really did enjoy the playthrough. If you didn't see it, I recommend it.
Now our society lets you get away with it, dude.
At the things that I feel are disappointments of the game, but I did overall really like it. Okay, and of course, people are now using the tomato emote or emoji in the chat, citing that they need to tomato the stage that I'm on. The good thing is I'm over across the internet, and they haven't invented a digital tomato that can come out of my webcam and splatter me in the face yet. But I did have the cowboy hat on to dick my head just in case something came at me. But I guess we're safe for another year. So there you go. Thank you very much. Let's continue on. I wish I could read people's responses, but no one's responding. Everyone's just saying boo and throwing tomatoes, digital tomatoes, in the chat. Gabriel says, "I told you I thought this would go longer than you thought." What are you talking about? We're on good time right now. We are exactly on pace for the time that I allotted for this, so we're good. Okay, continuing on. We're now on to number 8. My number 8 pick for one of the best games of 2023. This game shocked me. This is a game I almost missed, and I 100% attribute all of the credit to my amazing viewers and community, because you guys told me about it, convinced me to play it, and I am so happy that I checked it out. Ladies and gentlemen, my number 8 pick for best game of the year is RoboCop Rogue City. Yes, a game that I didn't even know existed till you guys told me about it. As a fan of action movies and 1980s stuff, this game resonates with anyone who's an 80s kid. Seriously. As a fan of RoboCop playing this game, this feels like it would have been in line with, like, this should have been RoboCop 3. Because RoboCop 3, the movie, sucks ass. So this is much better than what actually ended up being RoboCop 3, in my opinion. They've got Peter Weller, the actual voice actor and physical actor of RoboCop, to play the voice acting for RoboCop in this game. And it actually directly follows the plot line of RoboCop 2. So if you saw RoboCop 1 and 2, you will absolutely love this game. It's kind of like when they made that Ghostbusters game that felt like Ghostbusters 3. That's exactly what this is. It's got elements from games like Deus Ex, other fun first-person shooter-style games, and it combines them all. If anything, all right, there's only a couple critiques that I really have of the game. Number one, This game is a AA game. This is not made by a giant big budget studio, and they didn't have the means to really make it a super high production value game. Because of that, the character models outside of RoboCop, who looks very, very good, most of the character models look like crap. They do, okay? They look like they're early PS3, Xbox 360 era, maybe even late PS2 era character models. And that sucks. When you're making a game like this that has an epic story and all this content, you want your characters to look good. They don't. They just didn't have the budget for it. But outside of that, the gunplay is fun, and it evolves over the course of the game as you find upgrades for your amazing automated police issue handgun, okay? Side quests out the butt. You would think a game like this is just a first-person shooter. It's not. It literally is a first-person action RPG, again, similar to, say, like Deus Ex, where RoboCop will change how he plays over the course of the game. There's dialogue trees, and if you level him up in a certain way, he knows the right choices to make in dialogue. Think about that. That's like a Fallout choice, right? That's pretty darn neat. But he can increase gunplay, he can increase damage, different abilities, like shockwaves or ricocheting bullets off the environment to hit people from behind. It is pretty darn epic, the amount of upgrading choices you get playing the RoboCop game. You would never expect... I thought this was just a first-person shooter that was just action-based. It couldn't be further from the truth. The game's around 20 hours long, roughly. It's got cool story twists, awesome choices. The choices you make can actually affect things that happen in the end game of the game. It's got an epic final stage. It's got a cool, awesome twist at the end and an awesome final boss that's right in line with the movies. Like, again, if you are a fan of RoboCop, this is your ideal game that you've been waiting for a million years. They finally made one that's worth a crap. It actually is true to the character, right? But it's not for everyone. If you're someone who's such a stickler for great graphics, you're probably not going to like it. Or if you're someone who's like, I'm looking for the epitome of modernizations. Well, this game definitely plays a little bit outdated. Like I said, it plays like maybe a Deus Ex or something. And if you don't like that style of game, you're probably not going to like RoboCop. But for me, I thought it played well. It had so many fun elements that I didn't expect to be in it. It was a wild ride. I love the plot of RoboCop. It was absolutely a great playthrough. I recommend it. It's cheap. Right now it's on sale for like $25 or something like that. Give it a look. If you're just looking for like a 15 to 20 hour game and you don't care about it being a giant AAA level release, this is right up your alley. And again, if you're a fan of the 1980s and RoboCop like I am, you're going to love this game. Give it a look. RoboCop Rogue City at number 8. All right. And now people are really upset with me. But every year people are upset with me, so I'm good with that. Once again, people like are blown away. They can't believe it. They really can't believe it. They're like, oh my God. They're freaking out here in the chat. Spidey 5000 says, me and my father watched all the RoboCop movies, and this is great for us. Thumbs up. Cool. Knows What Real Vibe says, I think the game should have been top 5. It was a hidden gem, hardly any negative impact. I don't think it had enough refinement or enough content to be a top 5 game. You'll see what I mean. But anyway, let's continue on, ladies and gents. The countdown rolls on. Ladies and gentlemen, the number 7 best game of the year for me is a game that I kind of thought was going to be good. I kind of expected it to be, but that's because it's a sequel. And when you play a sequel, you expect that it should be at least as good as its predecessor. And in this case, I feel this sequel was better than its predecessor. It had improved graphics. It had better gameplay. It had refinedness that the first one didn't have. It actually solved a lot of the problems of the first game that felt very kind of repetitive and grindy. And overall, it actually showed that every once in a while, there can actually still be a good console exclusive in the modern era, because the game I'm talking about is Spider-Man 2. Spider-Man 2 was an exceptionally good outing in the superhero genre. People kept asking me the entire time I played Spider-Man 2, is this better than the Arkham trilogy? To which I answered, you know, for the modern day it is, but you have to kind of compare apples to apples. I don't think it's fair to compare the Batman Arkham series from almost a decade ago to a modern superhero game. But this game had so many improvements over the first. First of all, right off the get-go, you've got all of your abilities and combat powers from the first game, but you get to play as 2 Spider-Man. So one plays a little different than the other, which gives the amount of variety that you want so that the playthrough doesn't feel stale. And that was the problem with Spider-Man 1, is that once you played through halfway through Spider-Man 1, you pretty much saw everything Spider-Man could do. And even though it was fun to swing through New York City, it got kind of boring just doing the same things over and over with the same guy. In this case, each Spider-Man, both Peter and Miles, have their own plot lines, their own individual lives going on, but then they also have these team-ups they need to do for certain story-based missions. They throw in some really cool plot lines here with the Venom symbiote, right? Which everyone knew was in the game. I kind of wish they didn't spoil that, but they did spoil it early to say Venom was in the game. But that was a neat plot line. Yeah, good kind of supporting characters like Norman and Harry Osborn.
Yeah, brother, it's
some
live.
Of the classic rogues gallery of Spider-Man are in the game, like Mysterio, Kraven the Hunter, etc. Sandman's in there. I like that a lot. I did. And the graphics were outstanding on the PS2 as well. Or, excuse me, the PS5 as well. Going along with how good the Miles Morales expansion looked, the game looks just as good, if not better. I will just say this, absolute best open world experience in any kind of a city environment or any kind of a superhero game for sure. Like this, I will be honest, yeah, I do like this city better than the Arkham games. But again, that's really not a fair comparison. There's a 10-year difference there. So to say in 10 years, if Rocksteady made Arkham now, it probably would be better. You know what I'm saying? But for the time, it was amazing. And I think that this also is good. The writing, Haseo just reminded me. A few times during the playthrough, I actually like teared up and felt so emotional because the writing was great. It was that good. It wasn't like, oh, we're trying to make you feel cheap or cheesy. There was like emotional plots. Characters, sadly, from the first game who passed away. People coming to realizations about themselves, right? It's pretty awesome when you can learn something about the human condition by playing a freaking superhero video game. Who expected that, right? And by the way,
what can we learn about the human condition by watching
Phil? Now, I will admit, by the time you get to the end, there is some of the content that feels grindy. I actually did not platinum Spider-Man 2. I did platinum Spider-Man 1. I think that a little bit of the side content at the end is too grindy and too time-consuming, but you don't have to do all of it to enjoy the game at all. But there's enough meaningful side missions, great content, always something to do in the new New York City that's fully expanded. Now, instead of just the mainland island of Manhattan, you've got the other boroughs that are represented across the river, which is great. Again, having the two Spider-Men and their own plots is really great. And now we kind of see this game is kind of the passing of the torch. That Peter probably is going to be either a side character or maybe not the focus of the next one. Miles will be. And that's cool. So I really, really enjoyed it. I hope that you guys did too. One of my favorite games of the year by far. All right. Let's just get this next one out of the way at turbo speed. Number 6 is Hogwarts Legacy. And everyone's going to get up in arms about this. But I really liked this game earlier on.
It's crunch time, dude.
I really did.
You got 10 minutes,
I felt like it was such a cool atmosphere. The art design,
we got to go through 6 games in 10 minutes.
It was the first time I ever played an interactive Harry Potter game. I put all the controversy aside with the politics. I just wanted to enjoy the game for what it was. And for the first 2/3 of the ride, I thought that this game was absolutely outstanding. And I'll tell you this, I actually feel like if the final third of the game was as good as the first 2/3, this would have been top 4 for me this year, at least. The only reason that it's number 6 for me is because the last third of the game actually fizzles out and gets boring, repetitive, and kind of sucks. And that's a shame. Because again, this game was good, just didn't... It felt like it was an amazing first outing. And if they're to make a sequel to it, which it sounds like they're going to, did you know, I gotta say this in my Game of the Year awards. It doesn't matter how many of you hate on this game, Hogwarts Legacy is the best-selling video game of 2023. It sold over 22 million copies. That's more than Call of Duty. That's more than any Grand Theft Auto. It sold more than anything. It doesn't matter what the games media says. It doesn't matter what the leftist mob says. It doesn't matter at all. This game was a sales dynamo, and more people played this game this year than any other game that was purchased.
That sounds cap, dude.
Okay? The numbers speak for themselves.
That sounds cap.
Potter is alive and well. All right? So, I really liked the representation of Hogwarts Academy in this game. I really liked all the little mystery things, the attentions to detail, the polish that the game had. I liked having the magic actually be fun to use in combat. I loved learning new spells. I loved flying around on my broom, open world, and exploring. I loved the amount of puzzles, story, side quests, and content that were in the game. Again, my one negative... I mean, hell, I bought a scarf and a hat to wear during my days when I was playing this playthrough. The problem was, The last third, they ran out of ideas. And the game slowed down to a crawl. A third area of the map opened up. When you get there, you're bored. It's the same puzzles, the same stuff again. You're like, oh man, really? They're not going to add anything new for the whole final 10, 15 hours? No, they're not. So in that regard, it does sputter. And it doesn't feel as good as it should have been. But I loved it. It was, and the funny part is, because it was an early year game, most people aren't talking about it anymore. It just sold another 2 million copies in December on the Switch, by the way. It's still selling. People are still playing it and liking it. Even almost a year later, it's still a game that's hot and people are enjoying. So, doesn't matter how much the media want to spin something. This game exists. It's good. I loved it. You'll probably like it if you're a fan of the Potterverse. And don't listen to the nonsense, because it's hilarious when they tell you don't play it because J.K. Rowling. Well, the game is literally anti-politics of J.K. Rowling. There's a trans character in this game that is represented very, very fairly. Very positive character. They actually run an establishment in the Hogsmeade town. They're part of the plot for multiple missions. Never misrepresented in any bad way whatsoever. So how you can say this game supports her politics when actually it's directly in opposition to them, it just shows that you're an idiot. I'm sorry. Anyone who said that didn't play the game, didn't care, just wanted to stand on some kind of a soapbox because they really don't like J.K. Rowling, which is fine. Stop rubbing your politics off on things that don't involve them. This is a great game. Please give it a look. All right. I just wanted to get through that before people started getting their pitchforks and torches ready. Okay.
I got my pitchfork
now
ready,
we're into the top five, ladies and
gentlemen.
Ready
to go, dude. That was an ally, dude.
The top five.
Proud ally.
Best games of 2023, in my opinion. And you can disagree. And by the way, now's a good time to say to everyone, hey,
don't worry, Phil, I will disagree.
I want to hear your opinions. I know I'm seeing the opinions of those in chat. Okay? But I'm not seeing the opinions of those who are watching on demand, because I can't go through the internet and read your minds. Leave comments on the video and let me know, are you agreeing with my list? Are you disagreeing? Do you like my picks? Do you not like my picks? I'd like to hear your thoughts, so please share. Your thoughts are important.
I don't like your picks.
Okay? All right. Let's continue. My number 5 favorite game of this year is, I hate to say it, it's sadly one of those games that I loved, but it did not really resonate with most of my audience. And I think it's honestly because I do come from a different gaming generation. I do. And because I come from a different gaming generation, I tend to like things that my more modern viewers don't. I also think it's because of my age. I'm in my 40s, and I tend to have an older audience. If you're not aware, most of my viewers are in their 20s or 30s or 40s. I don't have a teen audience or a young children's audience, right? And so, this game particularly,
yes, you do.
I loved.
It's 1%, dude.
I felt that it innovated. I felt that it performed
You even said yourself
well.
It's 1%.
And unlike its direct competitor, it provided a ton of content. It was a good value for the dollar, okay? The game that I'm talking about at number 5 is Super Mario Brothers Wonder.
Mine says 0%. Yours says 1%.
Super Mario Brothers Wonder. The first 2D Mario game in many, many years. At one point, they were pumping these out like one a year or even more, okay? But after having get kind of burn out on these games for a while, they put them on hiatus. They put them on the shelf. They started focusing on like Mario Odyssey, all different other games. Finally, they decided to bring one back. You're like, well, man, we're going to bring back 2D Mario. Is it going to be any good? Yeah, this game had so much effort put into it, so much creativity. Every stage has a unique aspect to it that's unique to that individual stage. This game implemented power-ups we hadn't seen in Mario games for ages, but also introduced a slew of new ones, like the elephant suit, okay? The game had multiple characters. Now, the characters pretty much all play very similarly, but they look different, which is really neat, that you can have a different appearance for the character you're using. And, you know, you want to play it as a group, it's always cool to be able to pick the character that you like or maybe relate to a little bit more. Outstanding soundtrack, my God. You know, some really good tunes, but at the same time, I will be honest with you, I don't think that it's as good as previous Mario games in that regard. There was only maybe a few tunes that I really remember at the end of the day, while I could tell you I remember Mario music from other platformers a lot more than this one. But, really great, unique world. You know what this game reminded me of? A hybrid of Super Mario Bros. 3 and Super Mario World. For those who don't know, Super Mario World is my favorite platformer of all time, and Super Mario Bros. 3 is my second favorite platformer of all time. So to combine those two into one really was a hit for me. You know, an open world map with exploration and hidden secrets and fun, tons of replayability because you want to get every single coin. You want to get every single flagpole at the end of a stage, right? Here's one of the hidden things right there. See those hidden flower coins. Secret worlds. Like I said, each stage has its own hidden part. And then by doing every hidden part of every stage, you could then actually have it be that you can unlock secret content, hidden content, and stuff like that, okay? So, I loved Super Mario Brothers Wonder. I thought it was an exceptional return to 2D Mario that was needed. You know, this game had polish, attention to detail, tons of content. This game is 17 hours long. 17. You want to know what its direct competitor was this year? Sonic Superstars. Do you want to know how long that game was? 5 hours. It more than tripled the length of its direct competitor. You know, and it shows. When Nintendo comes out with an outstanding game that's a first-party game, you're like, wow, you're always blown away, right? And, you know, Tears of the Kingdom was good, but it felt way too much to me like Breath of the Wild. This game felt like they really wanted to try to make it different and better than all the previous 2D iterations, and it showed. It absolutely did. There was not a single stage I played in this game where I was like, this is just one of those filler stages. It's kind of boring. There's nothing interesting going on. It was the complete and utter opposite, and I loved it. The sad fact is, though, there's so many people in the modern day that don't get it. They think that because it's a 2D platformer, it's outdated and it's not good.
Nothing was bad or
they'll say,
good.
oh, that's a kiddie game because it's a Mario game. It's like...
Everything was good and bad, dude. Yeah.
Are we all not gamers and we're out for great gameplay experiences?
I'm a gamer.
Even if, like, 2D platforming isn't for you, can you not understand why these kind of games from a bygone era would still resonate with a certain audience? These are the games I grew up with, man. And to see that Nintendo is still in the modern day pumping out games that are innovative and different in this genre is amazing. How many other things from my childhood in the 1980s get modern versions that are good? Gamer. Not much. A lot of the times they're trying to rehash the stuff from the 80s and it sucks. This is a case where they're not rehashing. They're actually doing new things and innovating. That's amazing to me that Nintendo can do that and pull it off in a modern environment. You understand? So, yeah, I am kind of irked that sadly with my audience, I can't get it so that people really like all the stuff that I like. I wish more people had liked this playthrough and wanted to see it. Honestly, this was actually one of my less received playthroughs. Low attendance, you know, people saying, I wish he would play something else. That's sad because the game was so darn good. This kind of happened with Super Mario Odyssey as well. I thought Super Mario Odyssey was Game of the Year 2017 and people gave me crap for it. Maybe I'm just, at heart, perhaps I really am a fanboy of Mario. Okay? I don't know. But I really enjoyed this game. I hope that if you didn't give it a shot because you heard from me, oh, it's a Mario game. That's a kid's game. Everyone of every age will enjoy this game. Seriously. It's got that challenge. If you actually make it into like a challenge run like I did, trying to find every coin, do every secret, you know, flag, see the secret exits, this game is super duper fun. Please give it a look. Even if you play it and you don't enjoy it, at least you judge for yourself. There's too many people in the modern day that don't judge for themselves. And I feel like, sadly, a lot of my viewers are like that. That's not an adult game. That's a game for little kids. Why do I care that Phil played it? Because it's good. I wouldn't tell you it was good. I wouldn't lie to you. Why would I lie? I want you to play good games. I'm not a jerk. I also people think I'm a jerk. I'm not a jerk. I want you to enjoy the games that you put your time into. Okay? I'm your daddy. So, ladies and gentlemen, I hope you enjoyed Super Mario Brothers Wonder, and I certainly hope that you'll check out the game if you did not. All right? Fair enough? Okay. I want to say thank you to Gaming Addict for a $20 super chat. However, you probably came to the possibly worst stream that you ever could to try to propose anything to me because this is my Game of the Year awards, and I can't be distracted tonight. I have to get through the list. So I appreciate that. If you're interested, you want to email me, darksidephil@hotmail.com, please do. And I thank you for the super chat, but there's no way that I can respond to that right now. I am amidst something very important. Okay? I'm your daddy. Thank you, Gaming Addict, for the super chat.
Dude, somebody please help me, bro.
Okay, let's continue. So, now, we're really getting down to it, guys. We're getting down to the big ones. The ones that are my absolute fave games of the year. And so, ultimately, no matter what I now pick for the top 4, people will be upset. Because everyone has an idea in their mind of what they think was the best game of the year, correct? You can't get around that. The number 4 pick for my favorite game of the year, I was very pleased because, honestly, I wasn't sold on this one at all. All right? I was actually a skeptic. I believed that maybe this game didn't need to be made. All right? I thought maybe it was too early. Maybe it didn't need it at all. That there were better candidates. That there were better games. And that things needed to go in a different direction. But when I finally got my hands on the game and I played it, even having played a different version of this game only about a year prior, I was delighted with how it went. Okay? Rather than keep you with the edge of suspense, I think I'm just going to tell you what it is and explain my rationale. Ladies and gentlemen, my number 4 best game of the year, Resident Evil 4 Remake.
Imbecile.
A few years ago, there was a game called Resident Evil 2 Remake. And what it did is it reimagined the original Resident Evil 2 for the PlayStation 1 from the ground up for a modern audience. It redesigned the Raccoon City police station, the surrounding city around it, and all the underground lab and all of that. And it made it feel like a more modern game. I loved it. In fact, to this day, I still think that's like the poster child as the best version of a remake you can get. When Resident Evil 4 Remake was announced, all right, I said, why? Unlike the original Resident Evil games, this one's not that outdated. I mean, yeah, it's from GameCube era, PS2 era, but it was the first Resident Evil that had modernized controls, over-the-shoulder camera, better graphics, right? You could argue that a lot of the things in Resident Evil 4 were a more modern take on Resident Evil and changed it from its old tank controls and outdated mechanics to a modern situation, right? So, when they said Resident Evil 4 Remake, I said, does it need a remake? I'm not sure it does. All right? But let me tell you, this game won me over. It did. With its very, very, very improved graphics. With the new gameplay elements they added. Like, I particularly selected this video right now because I wanted to show you they added all of this content to the game. The lake now is a fully traversable lake with all this optional content around it that you can now explore. They redid certain parts of the game that previously were annoyances. Okay, they made the El Gigante boss fights more interesting.
It's from when I was younger,
rather than tedious or annoying.
I like fractured my wrist.
Certain parts of the game, like the mansion, to be more in line with a modern game and not as annoying.
It's always been weird.
But the challenge still remains. This is by no means an easy game. This is quite a hard game, and I played it on hard, and I still had fun with it. It still has those things. For example, the infamous crank scene, right, where you're turning a crank and you're trying to save the president's daughter, and she has to basically be defeated, snipe that guy's coming after her when they're saying, "Mourir es vivir, mourir es vivir." And it's very annoying. Well, that's still in here. So all those classic moments, those memeable moments from the original game are still in here, and you can still enjoy them. But there's a lot of new content and modernizations and new areas and side content that's added. So here's the direct comparison that I can make, okay?
Don't read this.
Here you go. Resident Evil 4 Remake versus the other major horror remake of the year, Dead Space Remake.
This
Resident
message
Evil
will
4 Remake put in an
5
insane amount
seconds.
of effort to make it feel like a brand new game. You can play the original Resident Evil 4, then you can play the remake and say, wow, those are two different games. When I played Dead Space and then Dead Space Remake, it felt like I was playing the same game. And that's the major difference here. Okay? So that's what I really like the most about this game. Amazing graphics, great responsive controls that were greatly improved. A lot of the annoying parts of the original game improved upon. Better new areas, open world traversal in certain parts that was really, really cool. And, of course, it's Resident Evil, man. I love survival horror. You guys know that survival horror are always some of my favorite playthroughs of the year no matter what. And this one really resonated with me. A lot of people loved it. It was actually earlier on in the year. People loved me doing this playthrough. Actually, if you actually look at views, it might actually be my most viewed playthrough of 2023. Don't quote me on that, but I'm almost positive it ended up being the one that brought more butts to seats, as they say, than anything else. So, obviously, that says something, right? So, Resident Evil 4 Remake, huge thumbs up from me. Great example of a remake and what it should be, rather than just using the same game and making it look better, actually adding in enough to make it feel like a different game from the original experience, and that's exactly what this one did. Now, what about Resident Evil 5? Here we go again. Because Resident Evil 5, I'm going to tell you, I think doesn't need to be remade. Resident Evil 5 is a game that I played at the beginning of my YouTube career. And so it doesn't feel like an outdated game to me. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe just like with Resident Evil 4 Remake, I'll be proven wrong. But what I really hope is that Resident Evil 5 Remake is more like 2 or 4 and not 3. Because Resident Evil 3 Remake, they really cut corners. They rushed it. It didn't feel like a complete game. It felt like a ripoff. So I hope we don't get that again. Okay. And now we've done it. Now we're in the top 3. And this is where everyone gets upset. Because no matter what, as they say, you can please all of the people some of the time. You can please some of the people all of the time.
Here we go, baby.
You can't please all of the people all of the time.
This is what they've all been waiting for.
So it doesn't matter what games I pick for the top 3. There's going to be very annoyed people. All right? But in the meantime, thank you, Gaming Addict, who had done another super chat right there. I just want to shout that out, and I appreciate that. All right. So now, top 3 games of the year. I don't think that anyone at all will be surprised that this game is in my top 3. But I think people may be surprised at the placing. Because when I have a game that is my most played of the year, you might think that it is my game of the year. But ladies and gentlemen, it is not. My number 3 pick for 2023 is Street Fighter 6. A game that reinvigorated my passion for fighting games. After so many years, I had just wrote them off and said I didn't want to play them anymore after having played Street Fighter 5 and hating it. An entire 7-year span passed where I was known as a fighting game YouTuber, and I stopped playing most fighting games. I casually played the NetherRealm ones like Mortal Kombat or Injustice. I casually would play a Tekken, but I never really put effort into it, okay? And it wasn't until Street Fighter 6 came out that I said, hey, looks like they're doing everything right. And let me tell you guys something. I don't think they could have really done better for the launch of any kind of a game. I actually think that Street Fighter 6 is pretty much the best effort ever seen by any company doing a video game at a launch. First of all, they have offline content that's meaningful. A crazy 20-plus hour gameplay experience in World Tour mode. All right? Very good visuals, as you can see now that the frame rate is stabilizing in this video. Very good 60 frame per second, colorful, beautiful fighting game visuals. An awesome, robust, complex game engine that's way better than the engine of Street Fighter V. Absolutely.
Sounds like he's trying to sell me a car, dude.
And a really awesome launch cast of characters, many of which play differently. And that was really the problem with Street Fighter V, is that basically when the game came out, Street Fighter V that is, most of the characters almost played exactly the same. If you knew the patterns or whatever, it was incredibly simplistic. But with Street Fighter 6, there's so many different characters that you can play as that play completely differently from each other. And that's incredibly fun. And that's what I like. I like oddball characters. I don't want to necessarily just use a top-tier rush-down character who uses the same pattern.
That was so
Maybe I want to do a
dude.
keep-away character like Dalsim. Maybe I want to do an oddball character here like my Blanca, who happens to be my best character in the game. Because I like this game so much, and by the way, absolutely needs to be called out, at least for the first many months of this game, it had the absolute best netcode of any fighting game ever. The best connections, very few dropped inputs, very few issues with lag or delay or desyncing. I mean, very, very inoften did I ever get like a fully desynced match or anything like that. I think that the ranking system was done well at launch. Like literally, it's hard for me to say that there were things that were annoying about this game at launch. It was done completely well, all right? And if it doesn't speak as a testament to how much I like the game, it's my most played game of 2023. This game got me back into competitive fighters, and I didn't think I ever would be, quite frankly, at my age, being 41 years old, and having been out of the competitive fighting game scene for 7+ years, to be able to play this game and get not one, not two, not 3, but 4 characters to the master ranking online, never of which I didn't even play Street Fighter 4 that much online. And I liked Street Fighter 4, and I didn't do that. This game I absolutely did. I went crazy playing this game, essentially, and got really good at it. I mean, look at the combos that I'm doing on screen right now and dropping, but then I end up winning the match anyway. Right? So, here's the thing. A lot of people would say to me, well, I don't get it. Isn't this the game that also disappointed you and caused you the most amount of rage? Well, you could say that too, but that's because of my passion for fighting games, right? I love them. I want to be able to perform at a level that's entertaining to you and to know that I can hang with some of the better players online. And the fact is that over the months that this game has been out, the experience has deteriorated for sure. For sure.
Yeah,
what happened is there's less players. When I first started playing, there was a humongous body of players. So no matter who you were playing, almost every single time you're getting a good connection because it's picking from the best. But as you rank up and you get better, now you want to play people that are of your rank, and that's a smaller player pool. As the game gets older, 4 months, 5 months, 6 months, 7 months, the player pool is just smaller and smaller anyways. People fall off and stop playing the game. So ultimately, it's always going to get worse over time, and that's what happened. My overall experience with this game started off incredibly strong and then ended up being very, very disappointing. Now, in the modern day, when I try to play it, it's harder to get good connections and fair matches. A lot of the times what's happened is people have found ways around being fair and kind of abusing the lag and stuff, and so your experience is going to degrade. And there's nothing much you can really do about that. That always happens when it comes to fighting games in the long term, all right? But again, a cool story mode for those who don't care about the game being competitive. That's 20 plus hours long. The ability to create your own avatar and have an online social experience. That's really cool in an online lobby system. Online lobbies that work, that have proper moderation, invites. It all works functionally at launch. A great initial online experience. The best netcode I've ever experienced in a fighting game, hands down. Even though I criticize it today, it's still the best that's available out there. Just take a look at their direct competitor, Mortal Kombat 1, and see how poorly that game performed. And you're going to see that even though this game isn't perfect, it's still the best option that you have, okay? A unique cast of characters, great combat mechanics that are very, very complex, but also rewarding and fun to learn. Just trust me, because when I started the game, I didn't understand half of them. And then by the time I started learning them, I was performing well and really enjoying the game at the high level that I played it at. I mean, I could keep going on and on about the good things about Street Fighter 6. It is right now the best fighting game out there. Now, will something else beat it? Maybe. You got Tekken 8 right around the corner. There's going to be other games coming out. You never know what happens because you know this is going to have expansions that are going to change the way the game plays online, and maybe it'll end up being better or worse. Who knows? But what I can tell you is it was awesome. The 7 to 8 months that I just played Street Fighter 6 straight, I really enjoyed it. I was excited to get back into competitive fighting games. I had a great time with it. I hope that you guys enjoyed it. I mean, I know you did. You were along for the ride. The views were outstanding. The support was grand. It was a very awesome experience to play Street Fighter 6 with all of you. I don't want you to think that this means this is the end of me playing it. It isn't. But at the same time, it's time to maybe give other games a lot more attention, especially with Tekken 8 coming out soon. I'm going to give that a shot. But I loved it. I hope you'll, maybe one day, maybe you'll go back and watch some of these matches and see my progress over the months, how I got better and better with certain characters and stuff like that. It's kind of a fun thing to do, right? Anyway, Street Fighter 6, number 3, favorite game of 2023. There you go. Some people are upset. I know they are. No Super Real Vibe says, don't remember, there's still 2 DLC characters on the way. Right, and I did buy the Season Pass, and I will be checking out those characters. Ladies and gentlemen, it's time for the top 2. And much like I just did with my disappointing Games of the Year countdown, what I would like to do now is compare the top 2 games head-to-head, let you know exactly what I liked about each one, and then announce my pick for Game of the Year. So in no particular order, please allow me to announce the top 2 games. These are not number 2 and number 1. These are the top 2. Then I'm going to tell you what my real pick for Game of the Year is, okay? So the first game making the finals of my Game of the Year awards for 2023.
Let's go.
Is Lies of P. This game delighted me in every single way that I want to be delighted when I'm playing a video game. Outstanding graphical performance on the Xbox Series X. Responsive, fun controls, and gameplay elements that change depending on what weapon you're using and that are constantly evolving over the course of the game. A story that was absolutely riveting. The lore of Lies of P was exceptionally good. It got me hooked on this universe and made me buy in. I didn't think I would. I thought, it's kind of a Bloodborne knockoff, right? But once you get into the plot, why are these androids revolting? Why do they have independence all of a sudden and they're not obeying the humans? What are these weird mutations in the environment and where did they come from? And do they have some factor into the malfunctioning androids? What is going on behind the scenes with this mysterious alchemist who seems to be pulling the strings, no pun intended, of all the robots and the main character, right? So all this going on and tying into the story of Pinocchio is just an added bonus, because if you know the story of Pinocchio or if you've seen maybe the Disney movie, you're trying to figure out who are the characters, how does it tie in and stuff like that. The game starts off good, but just gets better and better. First, you start off just fighting androids. Then you're fighting mutations and freaks. Then you're fighting mutated monsters, bugs, all kinds of stuff. The bosses are just as varied as any FromSoft game and have unique fun elements to them. The game is very challenging, but never at any point during the game did I feel like it was unfair. I felt like it was right on par with what you would expect from a FromSoft game. And the funny part about that is, how many years have we all been asking for Bloodborne 2? And we keep asking, but we don't get it. Well, this company basically said, we're not waiting any longer. It's obvious FromSoft isn't doing it. Let's do it. And really, this game feels to me like the spiritual successor to Bloodborne. It's not exactly the same, okay? You know, there are different things. There's a parry system instead of a gun to fire to parry. You're doing timed blocks and things like that. But definitely, the hybrid of gameplay between Bloodborne and Sekiro is apparent. The gothic style of the cities and the like also is very, very apparent. And the music is well done. The story, the atmosphere, it's all well done. It's like if you wanted another Bloodborne, but you knew you could never get one, this is the best thing.
He gave Baldur's Gate an honorable mention.
It's lengthy. It's a great value for the dollar. It's not a quick 10-hour experience. It's very lengthy. Just, again, as lengthy as Bloodborne or any other game in that franchise. So they did it right. And I apologize because I feel like I picked a crappy video. I thought that... I really thought that I had picked a better video than this. I definitely didn't, as you can see. I accidentally picked a video where he's just walking around the hotel. If he doesn't go do some combat quick, I think I'll play a different video. I thought I had it. I definitely picked the wrong video here because this is all story elements. So you know what? Hold on. What number was it? It was number 4. Hold on a second here. Is this it here? There you go. So now you can actually see some action. I'm sorry about that. I apologize. Totally my fault. Yeah, exactly. People like, did you play Lies of P or Hotel Simulator? Oops. So here's the actual Lies of P here. So anyway, yeah, really fun game, you know? And the only disappointment is I really wish that it was from FromSoft. I wish FromSoft had made it. I really do. Because it's sad that FromSoft kind of gave up on Bloodborne. I don't know if it was because of that. The rumors are that that game was made in conjunction with Sony and there were rights issues or something like that. I don't know. I wish that this was Bloodborne 2. But I think we kind of accept it now. We're never going to get a Bloodborne 2. So to see another company actually put in the effort to make a game that's just as good as Bloodborne is well appreciated. And in a year that did have other FromSoft knockoffs like Wolong Fallen Dynasty and Lords of the Fallen and these other games that did not live up to the expectation, this game far exceeded it. When I started playing Lies of P, I didn't expect it was going to be this good at all. Like, I thought it would be maybe decent, but I'm always skeptical when I go to play one of these kind of FromSoft knockoff games. So for me, I was like, maybe I'll check it out, maybe I won't. Then they announced it's on Game Pass, and I was like, okay, now I'm more apropos to check it out. And by the way, we're back to the hotel. I definitely picked the wrong clips. But anyway, I loved it. I really did. And you guys did too. I know earlier I said that probably Resident Evil 4 was the most viewed playthrough of the year. This was probably a close second. You guys always showed up for these streams in droves. You supported them. You engaged with them. You love when I'm playing difficult games. I know that. You love the enjoyment. I'm in the hotel. I'm buying things again. You love the enjoyment when I'm challenged, but I overcome that challenge, right? You know, first I'm getting hammered, but then I come back and I learn the elements and I overcome. That's one of some of the best gameplay that I can put out there. And this game was that. Like, this was the best example of that. So I'm glad that you guys enjoyed it as much. You know, the thing is, a lot of people don't really like to see me go back and do second runs. I would consider maybe doing a second run with a different build at some point. But they've already announced, get this game sold so well, they are absolutely making other games. They're going to make a direct sequel to this, and they're even talking about making other games as well that aren't Lies of P, because this game did so well. So that's great news, and I cannot wait for the next one. But that is not the only game in contention for Game of the Year, because, ladies and gentlemen, there was another game that I was unsure of. A game so long desired, so long, you know, to be developed. And then finally, when it was announced it was being made, it was like, man, I don't know if this is going to be good or not.
What is
The original game was good, but definitely had shortcomings. And finally, to hear that this game was being made. And then, when you start playing it, and you're like, wow, this is pretty darn good. It's very similar at first to the original game. But it feels more like a serious thriller style game this time around with horror elements, as opposed to just a game that was kind of like story with some repetitive gameplay. Before I get too ahead of myself, let me just say it's Alan Wake 2, of course. A game where there's two protagonists that you switch between on the fly at a certain point in the game. A game that completely picks up the story of Alan Wake 1 from over a decade ago in a great and creative way. Is Alan still stuck in the lake? What's going on around Cauldron Lake? There's now an FBI investigator there to try to figure this out. You've got your investigation of the environments with items. You've got your gunplay against supernatural enemies, but the gunplay is well refined and much better than in the original game. You've got open environments that you can investigate, but you've also got more linear environments inside of confined areas to explore, okay? The other real cool thing about this game is it ties in with the other games that Remedy has made over the last decade. Did you know that Control, their last very popular game, very much makes appearances in this game and has direct ties to it? It happens in the same universe and has crossovers, which is really cool. Did you know that the actor who played the actor who played Max Payne and also is the creator of all these games actually is a main character in this game? Pretty neat. This game also does so many unique things that I've never seen in a video game before. A whole element of narrative where, like, you have to use a big investigation board to put clues together to try to piece together the plot, and then once you hit it right, then it kind of explains more of the plot. And what about that absolutely, positively amazing musical number, the likes of which I've never seen in a video game before? It's like you're in the middle of a giant rock opera, but it's part of the game. And another thing a lot of people don't mention because they didn't even realize it, there's also a whole full-length indie film. It's about 22 minutes long that's in this game, and you can watch it and enjoy it, and it's more of the story, but a lot of people don't know it's in there. They walk right by it and miss it, okay? But the voice acting, the mocap, the transition between the real-life actors and then the in-game representations of the actors, the various different versions of the environments, as you just saw, Alan shifting with light and plot lines between different versions of each room and how they integrate, the quick loading of the graphics between those areas, all right? The creepiness of the plot, always getting you wondering who's doing what. Is it really an evil presence? Is Alan just crazy? Is Alan controlling the environment when he writes? Or is it actually this mysterious Mr. Scratch doing that, right? Giant boss fights, awesome epic parts. This game is really well done. This game is more than twice as good as the original Alan Wake, in my opinion. And I'm happy to see that it got good recognition at the Game Awards and other places because I was nervous. Alan Wake 1 was a good game, but it had a lot of shortcomings. It got very boring by the last half. It was too much repetitive grindiness. The plot was the best part, but the combat was basically a big shortcoming. In this game, there is so much more added to it to make it better, to make it not feel like a repetitive grind. That's why they had those unique scenes in there. By the way, I should bring up the graphical performance of the game was absolutely outstanding. As you can see, it ran absolutely beautifully on the Xbox Series X when I played it. No issues there. No big, massive frame rate drops. No crashes. No giant bugs or anything like that. It was a wild ride. Oh, by the way, it's incredibly long, too, right? Seriously, like, for the value for the dollar, it's a huge game. Alan Wake 1 wasn't nearly as long as this one. It almost feels like this is what they wanted to do with Alan Wake 1 over a decade ago. But because of the limitations of what was possible back then, they couldn't make the game. They had to go through a decade of making other games like Quantum Break and Control to get to the point where now they could actually make that game they wanted. And now that it's out, this is so much better than the original. And again, blew me away. I liked Alan Wake 1. I loved Alan Wake 2. I cannot wait for the expansions, for the sequel. You know they're making more because the game sold very well, and already they've got all these things lined up, DLC expansions and everything else, and I'm very excited for that, all right? So, when I'm looking at the top 2 games of the year, all right, and it's like, man, how do you determine what's the best game of the year? You got to look at a few factors, right? I mean, both Lies of P as well as Alan Wake 2 are worthy of being Game of the Year 2023, in my opinion. So I got to kind of start looking at, like, objective versus subjective, you know. I always wanted a sequel to Bloodborne. Well, we got it, and it's exceptionally good. Well, I always wanted a sequel to Alan Wake, and we got it. And it's exceptionally good. Both games improve upon the things that they're striving to improve upon. And they give you a unique and fun experience, right? So honestly, it's so hard for me to pick, all right? I'm just going to be a cop-out, and I'm going to say Baldur's Gate 3 is the best game of 2023. That way, everyone will get off my ass and stop bothering me and stop pestering me, okay? I'm done. That's my game of the year. No, I'm not going to do that. Absolutely not. Instead, I'm actually going to be a man about it, and I'm going to select an actual winner, okay? Okay, it's this simple. When you're selecting a game of the year, you have to weigh and balance everything. The length of the game, the quality of the game, the graphics, the performance, everything. There is one shining factor in my game of the year determination for 2023. Taking chances and being unique. There is one game this year that took creative chances and did things in a video game that I've absolutely never seen before and had moments that I will never forget. And that game absolutely positively was Alan Wake 2. With that rock opera segment, with the short film that's in there, with the uniqueness of the plot and the investigation techniques of the Mind Palace that are in there, 2 protagonists you can alternate between whenever you feel like. It did so many things that could have not worked. And they all worked. Every single one of those things actually works. And because of that, I will have this unique memory of an absolutely outstanding game in my mind for years to come. I will not forget the Herald of Darkness musical number. I'm going to remember those lyrics. I'm going to remember that music. I'm going to remember that time that I was sitting right here with all of you and how much we enjoyed that together on that night stream, that we weren't expecting that to happen, and we were all blown away. Okay? So, Alan Wake 2, because of the chances it took and creatively hit the home run.
All right, we did it.
My pick.
We did it.
Game of the year of 2023.
We called it, baby.
So, I've done it. I ranked them.
Fucking garbage,
for my
dude.
personal preferences.
Absolute waste of time.
What do you think? Do you agree?
Wonderful, dude. Later,
do you
KB.
Disagree? Are you? I can tell you right now,
Skater.
Monty's most furious because he just
Big
typed
ups,
about
dude.
72 different tomatoes into the stream chat, so he's very upset with me. But I think this was an exceptionally good year for games, and I hope that if you have difference of opinion, you'll share it with me by leaving a comment on this video after the fact and let me know. But in the meantime, man, as disappointing as games were in 2023, as you can see via my countdown here, there were just as great positive games. And I'm happy to see that not every game is becoming just a sellout or a game that wants to copy another game and fail miserably, you know? I'm happy for that there's still innovation, that there's still creativity in the gaming community, that they're still trying to make works of art that will resonate and be remembered, rather than, how do we print the most money for this game we're about to put out? That's a major problem we're having right now in the gaming industry, and it's getting very hard to tackle those issues, okay? Thankfully, not every game dev team has been corrupted or ruined by its own parent company or management team, and we're still getting unique experiences. So, what will we get in 2024? You know, I'm hopeful for some pretty awesome games. Like a Dragon, Infinite Wealth is looking absolutely amazing. Final Fantasy VII Rebirth is looking superb. But I think we're a little early. Being in January, you never know. Because a lot of these games that look good now might actually end up being disappointments, as we saw in my year-end series this year. But if anything, as long as the sparks of creativity stay alive within these artistic people that are making games, there's hope that there's going to be unique experiences coming, and that's what I'm looking for. So, thank you all for hanging out with me in 2023. Another superb year for games. Thank you for watching my year-end series. Thank you for all of your love and support of DSP Gaming over the course of this last year. I can promise you this, 2024 is already off to a great start and is going to be another great one here. So, for my year-end series and for my Game of the Year awards for 2023, this is DSP signing off and saying thank you all so very much. I offer you my gratitude and my thoughts of hopefulness for the new year. Peace out, my friends, and I will see you all on a gaming stream to come soon. Bye-bye for now. All right. We did it. We did it. What did you guys think? You got indoctrinated into the cult of hate against me. Did you like it? Congratulations. Did you hate it? Is it somewhere in the middle? No Sleep Real Vive says, I think you said there was minimal to no criticism of Lies of P whatsoever. Oh well, hopefully the second game will take your future game of the year. Toasty liked the list. Reverse 750 says the real like transition was better balanced in this than it was in Quantum Break, which felt more like a TV show than a game. The real life transition. You talk about Alan Wake 2. Carlos says, so sad Armored Core got axed, but the game did win Best Action Game. I would have said Armored Core probably would have been just below all of this, but I'll be honest with you. Like, Armored Core was good, but not... It was a fun romp, but, like, it's not crazy that, I loved it so much and I want to play it again, or I would want... Like, I'm not even dying to play the sequel, quite frankly. You know what I mean?
Philip?
Solid top 10 says Spidey. Thank you. Hiseo says, I love the countdown, but Spider-Man should have been higher. Mint says, good stuff, minus having the most disappointing games on the list as well. Again, I think you misunderstand. The whole point of this is not...
Philip?
The whole point of this list is not that because I thought a game was disappointing that it's bad. I don't know why people have that conception, that because a game was on the disappointing list that it's a bad game. It just means that it disappointed me for some reason, but it could still be a great game, and that's why a few of them were on this list. Life is not black and white. You know what I mean?
Philip?
No mention of Like a Dragon Gaiden. Here's the thing. I like a Dragon Gaiden, but it's a filler game, and we all know that. That is not a full-fledged game. It's meant to be a shortened version of what Like a Dragon is. Most of the game is just side content. The plot is very short, but that's why they didn't charge full price, and that's also why it's a Game Pass game, you know? So, to me, it's kind of like, what's the main event? Like a Dragon Infinite Well. Like a Dragon Gaiden's kind of like the appetizer leading up to it, so it's not really something that's crazy resonating with me as a memorable game. You know what I mean? I technically didn't finish Hogwarts. Yes, I did. I finished it. It's ridiculous what you're saying. Why didn't AC Mirage make the disappointing countdown? Because it didn't really disappoint me that much. It was not great, but it wasn't bad. And again, a discount game, and I got it on you know, the Ubisoft Plus thing. It wasn't terrible. It didn't piss me off, right? That's why. Product, you idiot. Gabriel's in a super chat. Oh, I'm sorry. He says, Alan Wake 2, best game released this year, not even close. Thank you, Gabriel. I'm sorry I missed your super chat. Sorry about that. Games that have some criticism can still win Game of the Year. Of course. No game is, in my opinion, I've not run into a game that's perfect. You know what I'm saying? At all. So games, being what they are, sometimes you got to accept the good with the bad, and even your favorite game of the year might be one that's flawed, right? Street Fighter 6 has many, many flaws, but it's a superb fighting game. And I recommend it to anyone out there, whether you're casual, whether you're hardcore, whatever your level of enjoyment is, you could still enjoy Street Fighter 6. Even with all the rage I've had towards it and criticism, I still think it's a superb game, and Capcom did an outstanding job. That's why it was so high on my list. You know what I mean?
Detractorism.
Why no Final Fantasy? Did you not see all the things I said in my disappointment countdown? I didn't like the game at all. So there's no way it's going to be in my best games of the year countdown. DC, thank you. He says, nice countdown. Congrats on Alan Wake 2. I appreciate and respect your opinion on your choice. I personally disagree with you because I liked Lies of P and I loved it. No problem. I get it. Kathleen, re-up in the membership for a month. Like a Dragon is my favorite game, and good night. And you're entitled to your opinion. You have a good night. Lucky Gremlins is a good night.
Bro,
I love
it's
your list.
9:40, dude. What are you doing?
All right, since many of you are now taking off, all right?
You're supposed to end at 9:30, dude.
Okay? Tomorrow, my final streaming day of the week is going to be Baldur's Gate 3. Well, first we're going to have the podcast. It's going to discuss this countdown and stuff like that.
Why is he getting mad? He's going late.
Tomorrow night, a very,
why are you mad,
very
dude?
Special late night stream. A stream that if you can be here tomorrow night for the late night stream, you're not going to want to miss it. That's all I'm going to say. Again, I don't want to spoil it. But I think you're going to absolutely enjoy tomorrow night's stream. If you can make it, please do. It's a mystery surprise stream. If you can't make it, don't worry. I'm going to record it, and it will still be live on this channel.
I'll be there, Phil. I'll be there.
This year, 2024, I got surprises in store. I got new things and improvements, right? I told you. So, tomorrow, it's going to be a good stream. That's all I'm going to say. All right? Hopefully, I live up to my promises and my expectations here. Okay? That's all I'm going to say. So please join me tomorrow night for a very special night stream. What's funny is so many people are trying to guess what it is. Right? So many people. You'll see tomorrow night. I have not given you guys a single hint at all. So you're just going to have to see for yourself. Okay? Cool. guys, I'm going to get out of here because I got to do the daily wrap. I got to upload these videos. I got to do playlists for tomorrow.
Yeah, you just got to do a lot of work, dude.
Streams for tomorrow. I got a lot of stuff to do.
A lot of stuff
I'm going to get out of here. I want to say thank you again. You guys
were
awesome. Thank you so much for supporting this stream. It was really nice of you to support this stream.
Big ups, everyone.
And tomorrow we end the week in a grand fashion, as you will see. All right? Thank you all. Oh, by the way, DC says I have a farewell haiku. I bid you farewell. Until we meet again soon. See you later, friend. Thank you, DC. And thank you all. Great night tonight. Fun. Great positive vibes. I was glad we had positive vibes for the positive stream night. Yesterday was the negative stream. Right? All right. Guys, I'm out of here. Have a good night. See you all in the morning for the final streaming day of the week. Peace out, my friends. Good night.
Big ups, everyone.
Hello, everybody. It's your boy, Jordy Jordan. Fat motherfucker himself.
Man, I sure hope that I don't accidentally spill the beans about tomorrow night's stream by leaving the mic on right now, and I start talking about the very big...
This is
a big, bumbling black man.
Let it be known, motherfuckers. Everything was right. Everything correct.
Hit you guys tomorrow.
Several months to pay my taxes. These fucking trolls financially fuck me over every single fucking year.
It's not my fault. My fears on my nigga.
Everything was right. Everything correct. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. Everything was right. Everything correct. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.
Run that shit back. Pull out your fucking car. Yeah, I'm fucking black. Run that shit back. Grab your balls. Swivel them around. Grab your cock. Swivel them around. You're just walking around with two nuts swinging in a cock. And you don't even realize what you got. Go be a sheriff or cop. You serve no purpose, nigga. You're wasting time. Black spook in America. You feel me? Obsessing over another man you never met. Black crispy sweat. Beat me in a sense. Soon as I hop on way. Niggas using them medics on game. Okay. It's not my fault. My fears on my nigga. Run that shit back. This dude's on strange.
Everything was right. Everything correct. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. Everything was right. Everything correct. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong. I did nothing wrong.